hear it, I remember. I could hear it in the wind, that melody that they would play every single day to remind us it was over. And it went
Welcome into the Boise State Twitch page. We have a lot of fun in store tonight for you. It's League of Legends. We're back once again with the UCI Best Coast Tournament. Of course, last night, Boise State got their first League of Legends win of the year in a show match against Dixie State, but now it's for all the marbles, Boise State and Michigan State, coming up very soon on Summoner's Rift. I am Michael Fish Fisher, going to be joined by Adam Cheese McGuire to call all the action, and Boise State not off to the best start, unfortunately, 0-4 so far in the tournament, but as I mentioned, got a win last night, and maybe that was the turning point this team needs. Of course, still trying to mesh together with some new lanes, some new players, and Boise State trying to get some revenge on the Spartans for a football loss nearly a decade ago. So we'll have to see if the Broncos can find their first W tonight. Still waiting to see if we can get Chizu in here. So I do have to say, not only is it maybe a chance for Boise State to avenge a football loss, maybe a preview. There he is. There is Chizu. The Broncos and Spartans would meet on the blue real turf in 2022 if we are allowed to play football. But Boise State is going to be taking on the Spartans in the UCI Best Coast Tournament. Looks like Chizu might still be frozen, so we'll iron those issues out. But as I mentioned, the Broncos got a win last night, but not going to be maybe so easy tonight. There is a huge roster change-up for the Spartans. At the last minute, a new jungler in for them, a new top laner, a new AD carry, and a guy who hasn't played jungle in really as far as I could go down on his match history. So we'll have to see what comes out in the Broncos and Spartans matchup tonight here in the UCI Best Coast Tournament. As we mentioned, Boise State picking up a win last night in a show match. We'll see how that carries over to tonight. Of course, Boise State not going to be changing anything at all. It is Red Hot's in the top lane. As you can see him here back in the arena. It was a good luck last night. Maybe another good luck charm for him. Then you have Aqua in the jungle, Ascent mid lane, Goblin over there as well in the arena and on AD carry, and then Dean in the support for Boise State. So we'll see if those two players in the arena tonight, as we start and iron things out, see how we can get everyone back in here and still follow protocol, will all work out. Of course, you can see masks on, shields up in between the computers there, and some extra distance as well. So full precautions going in, but we also want to make sure the players can start to get back into the arena, start and get that mojo, because it definitely worked out for them last night. It is Boise State and Michigan State in the UCI Best Coast Tournament coming up up here very soon. The start of week 3 for both of these teams. The Broncos sitting at 0-4, Michigan State sitting at 1-3. But despite the record difference, Boise State will have side pick. The teams were seeded by summoner rank before the tournament started. Boise State coming in ahead of Michigan State. So the Broncos will get side selection in game 1 tonight. The first time they've been able to do that in 4 matches. So be very curious to see what they want to do with there. Maybe still trying to iron out some of the issues there, as we do have Chizu joining us once the internet will allow him. So working on that as diligent as we are as we head into game 1 picks and bans. Maybe there he is. At least the camera's unfrozen for a little bit. We'll have to see if we have audio from him or not. But right now we are awaiting Boise State and Michigan State. Doesn't sound like we have Chizu at the moment, but we will hopefully have him in before the game starts. As we mentioned, Boise State did pick up their first win of the season in a show match, so hopefully that'll carry over into tonight. Very interesting to see who's going to be picked for Michigan State. As we mentioned, a new jungler in who, when you look at his match history, full support player, so maybe not the most radical junglers might come out. He did play a lot of support fiddlestick, so I'll be curious to see if Argentum Sum wants to play that in the jungle. And then a new 80 carry, Millie Khan, known as Millie, is going to be in for Michigan State. So a little bit of a change-up there. Of course, when you're sitting at 1-3, maybe you want to make some change-ups, so we'll have to see how that works out for Michigan State. But it is going to be Broncos and Spartans here very shortly. Michael Fisher, and once we are able to get him, Adam Chizu McGuire joining us for this cast in the UCI Best Coast Invitational. The Broncos looking to snap a 4-series losing streak. It is best of 3, so even if the Broncos lose the first match, it won't be all over yet. It is going to be best of 3. All champions are available, by the way. I know we saw that a Yone was picked last night by Aqua. That is on the table. Haven't seen it tonight, and Lilia also on board for either side as well. No bans in the collegiate esports for those champions, so I'll be curious to see if anyone wants to bring that out for the first time for us to see it on the stream, at least in the UCI Best Coast. But very interesting storylines tonight. 2 teams trying to turn around their fortunes as we enter the second half of the UCI Best Coast Invitational. It is a 4-week regular season, each team playing 2 games a week in a 7-team group, so there will be a bye mixed in there at some point, and then after the 4 weeks, the top teams will go to playoffs. So Boise State maybe trying to look back to get to 3-4, end the season or end the tournament on a high note, maybe even sneak into playoffs depending on how everything else falls out there. As we do go into the picks and bans for game 1, do have Chizu there. We'll see if he can hear him, as we do have Boise State picking blue side, and then the Katarina ban coming out here first for Boise State. We talk about Rumble ban for Ascent. At least he's a little bit cheeky about it. The mid laner for Michigan State named Best Katarina. That's going to get a Katarina ban every time. They'll answer with the Rumble ban. So 2 one-trick mid laners going to have to find something else to play here. Thresh ban going to be the next one for Boise State. I like that one as well. Definitely something that has been played a lot by that. The Nidalee ban, probably the most interesting one. I know it's something Aqua plays very effectively when you look at his OPGG, but it's not something that he's played in this tournament so far. He's done a lot of work on Vi, some work on Twitch and Graves, so interesting to see that Nidalee one. And then the Camille ban coming out here for Boise State, the last one of their Phase 1 bans. Have to see what Michigan State wants to answer with. Usually this has been an Aqua ban for most teams, something like a Twitch, maybe something like a Graves or a Vi. Aqua, 3 players of the game for Boise State in this UCI Best Coast tournament, so definitely a player you want to keep out an eye on for, and the Nidalee ban does just that. So I'll be curious to see what Michigan State wants to ban away here. As we do mention, they have a new jungler and a new 80 carries, and the jungler is a support main, at least as far as I could tell. I mean, there was some Fiddlesticks games mixed in there in Season 8 and Season 9, but I think those were mainly in the support role, so it is going to be interesting to see what Michigan State wants to put their new jungler on, how they want to handle it. There's the Graves ban, so another targeted Aqua ban coming out as we head into the first round of picks here. We'll see what Boise State picking up the blue side, who they're going to pick up first, as the Broncos did get first side selection. And no, I don't think that is a Teemo. Still a graphical error with the pro draft. That should be a Yone. Actually, excuse me, the other new champion, it's Lilia being picked up for Boise State. Timo just kind of sitting in there as the placeholder until we get those images. So yeah, Lilia going to be the pickup there for Boise State. The Kazakhs still being picked up for Michigan State. I know their other jungler, RBM, who had been listed on the roster, played a lot of Kazakhs, but he will not be in tonight as far as I know. So I'll be curious to see who they want to put on that. Maybe some coaching going on in the back line there leading up to this game. The Jin and Ashe picks in the AD carry role there. Ashe, a very common AD carry, can use the arrow to sort of engage, save herself from any dive. And then you see the Jin, of course, you have that 4-shot auto that can chip people down. Does a ton to sort of harass in the lane. So we'll see how Goblin can pick up those 4 shots if he can harass the enemy AD carry for Michigan State. Maybe force it early back here as well. Still waiting to see what the next pick is going to be here for Boise State. The Timo, not a Timo, by the way, if you're just joining us, this is a Lilia. There is still an issue with Pro Draft, not quite recognizing those 2 new champions. And then the Soraka pick for Boise State. We've seen Dean on a handful of Enchantresses. Soraka, definitely a very strong champion. I think one of the champions that is going to be maybe hit the hardest by Riot saying they want to work on healing going into next season. Definitely a very healing intensive champion. So I'm very curious to see how Dean can play this, if he can maybe get Boise State out of some fights with the Wish, turn those fights around, and then of course keep Goblin well sustained down there in the bot lane. And then the Braum pickup for Michigan State, as I mentioned, the Thresh band, that's his favorite, but Bard is right behind him, so it is going to be very interesting to see how that Bard Ashe works out against the Soraka and the Jin. Could even have maybe a roaming Bard for Michigan State. Of course, those chimes going to spawn all over the map, so he sort of can function as a pseudo jungler here. We're going to have, in the second phase of ban, Zoe going to be the one banned away for Michigan State, targeting down Ascent there in the mid lane, of course, with his Rumble offline. The Diana ban for Boise State, definitely targeting the mid laners on both sides right now. In Twitch chat, somebody asking if these teams have a bit of a rivalry. They have met on the football field in 2012. The Spartans won in Michigan State. The team's scheduled to play again in 2022 on the Blues. So there is a bit of a bitter rivalry here in Boise State and Michigan State in the esports side. Maybe going to be able to supplement that for now, as neither of these schools currently have conferences participating in football this fall. The Galio ban, the final one for Michigan State. We have seen Ascent play that. And then the Mordekaiser ban. So a couple of mid, a couple of top bans for Boise State. And then we're going to have a couple of mid bans for Michigan State. Looks like we have Chizu back just for a moment there, just a bit of a tease. Still trying to wait to see if we can get him back into us before the game starts there. Looks like we may...
Eventually, at some point in time, maybe I'm just coming through like a voice of some kind of deity, whatever, and eventually I'll be able to jump into what's actually going on, as my screen is locked and all I have is the beautiful face of Fish and America's sweetheart, none other than Red Hots.
Well, while his camera is frozen, we still have Chizu coming through audio-wise, so we'll hope to fix out the screen issues there. So we do have the Ornn pick on the side of Boise State, putting Red Hots back on that tank. Of course, something that he's gotten more familiar with in that rotation up to the top lane with the roster changes. And then the Echo pick for Boise State. Have to assume that is a mid laner, but also could be a jungler. Of course, the Timo is a Lilia if you are just joining us, so a little bit of flexibility for Boise State where they want to put the Lilia, where they want to put the Echo. The Syndra pickup for Michigan State, and then one final one here should be the top lane choice for the Spartans. There's some Garen in the match history of their top laner, at least in previous seasons. Hasn't brought it out as much, but we'll have to see what he wants to bring out here tonight. He had played some Lilia as well, but a lot of that was in ranked flex, so maybe not something he'd be comfortable with in a more high-stakes match. So want to see what that final pick here is for the Spartans. Actually, Warwick being picked up there. So have to be curious to... Warwick is Yone, so we're still trying to figure out all the pro draft things with the new champions. So Warwick is Yone, Timo is Lilia, so a pair of champions we haven't seen from either team, and we haven't seen in the UCI Best Coast Invitational, at least from the Boise State side, going to be coming out here tonight as we head into Game 1. Of course, I am Michael Fish Fisher, hopefully trying to connect here with Adam Chizu McGuire at some point before we head into Game 1 between the Broncos and the Spartans in the UCI Best Coast Invitational. Boise State sitting at 0-4 right now. Michigan State at 1-3, but the Broncos, the higher-ranked team coming into this tournament, so they were able to pick up the side selection for Game 1, choosing the blue side there. So we'll have to see if the Broncos can get their first win of the night in the UCI Best Coast Invitational. As we mentioned, they did get their first League of Legends win last night in a show match against Dixie State. So the Broncos definitely building in the right direction. I love the play we've seen from them, even in a couple of their most recent losses. I really think this team's starting to gel. I think Ascent starting to find his role in the mid lane with that Rumble, of course, banned away every time. There you can see the standings. Texas, Bethany Lutheran, Stony Brook all sitting at 4-0, and Western University at 3-1. Those are the four schools Boise State has faced up against, so definitely that 0-4 record may be inflated a little bit by facing the top of the bracket. You see Michigan State there sitting at 1-3, and then Illinois, the other 0-4 team at the bottom of the bracket, who Boise State, by the way, still has to play. So definitely some maybe potential wins in the future for Boise State, as we do have Doc's keys to the game for League of Legends. Get some good mid-jungle synergy going on there, play for the objectives, value over time, and never take a fair fight. It's all brought to you by Count. And of course, with this pandemic going on, I'm sure you're at home a lot more. I'm sure you may be shopping for things like groceries and other things online, and maybe say, wow, that's really convenient. I'm going to keep doing it. But in the back of your mind, you're always worried about account protection, and that's where Count comes in. Their Identity Trust Global Network, along with their award-winning AI, analyzes 32 billion interactions to personalize the user experience, make sure there's fraud prevention, safe payments, account creation, and login events. So if you are worried about your account security online, just go over to count.com. That is KOUNT.com for more information. As we do wait for the teams to get in, we do see, there he is. There's Chizu. He's back. He's dancing around. I have to say, you're just excited that you now know how to protect your accounts online with Count.
That's exactly what it was. It was partially the fact that I heard the voice of Fish, and it led me to the promised land that is a working screen. You know, I just had to do the old turn it on and off again situation. We're back. We're better than ever. I missed draft. I'm really sad about that. But what I am going to do, since I am now here and have to, push myself through the doorway, is I've got a little special thing for you, Fish. We put together a top 5 plays from BSU's victory yesterday, just in case you missed it. I mean, maybe you didn't miss it because you were there, obviously.
Well, it was Boise State's first win in League of Legends, so, hey, I'd love to relive the W's, and I just love the team comps that we saw for Boise State. I loved Ascent on the Renekton there, as you saw, just absolutely being a force in the mid lane. I also loved, of course, the Red Hot Sakali coming out. We had some Malphite as well that we might see. So it was just a great feeling for Boise State. As I said, they're starting to get their feet. They're starting to get those planted, and I'm really, really confident for tonight for the Broncos.
Well, they made us eat some crow last night in that second game with a draft that was very question mark pingable, and they showed us what was up, including a jungle Kog'Maw that once tried and tested is something I am not capable of doing. So I'm curious to see what Boise State has up their sleeves this time here against Michigan.
Yeah, and I would love to maybe see in the second game the Red Hot's Malphite, as we saw there, just absolutely wrecking people with the unstoppable force. Of course, we had Aqua on the Yone, who was popping off. Now, we'll have to see how Boise State handles the Yone, that one being picked up by the side of Michigan State, the Spartans. So very curious. We got 2 new champions tonight, Chizu. That's what I'm most excited for. Lilia and Yone going to be in our game.
Yeah, and again, with Michigan State University, the Spartans, if you will, the Sparties, they are a team that Boise State has struggled with. It's one of those things where, you take a look at Argentum Sky in the jungle. I looked at all of these individuals up. They're absolutely on fire. Their win rates in the last 10 were one of those ones where I had to refresh a few times. I'm like, that can't be right. That's got to be a bug. So Boise does have a very large hill to climb, although maybe they're running off of the adrenaline high, if you will, from this immaculate pentakill straight out of the Yone, and a just amazing setup from Boise State on that dragon nonetheless.
As you see there, Michigan State does not have a formal esports team for any game, but there is an esports scene at Michigan State, and it's quite lively nonetheless. Haley Phillips, the director of the Esports Association, very optimistic about the future. And if you're able to get into big tournaments like these with big-name schools like Boise State, and of course we saw the undefeated schools in the bracket as well for the Broncos, and you're able to pick up a win in the process, that'll go a long way to establishing a presence. So you know this is a school that is hungry to sort of make their name known, Chizu. So Boise State got to watch out for that as we take a look at the rosters.
Absolutely. We're about 30 seconds away from Boise State University going up against the Sparties to Party Hardy. You see Sunlight, Argentum Sky, Best Katarina there in the mid lane. That will be put to the test, I'm sure. That individual there, Dalaran, is an individual I did not have on my roster, nor Kangs. So new information coming in the last seconds, but hey, it's been one of those days. And of course, Red Hot's Aqua with his Canadian money, Ascent, Goblin, and Dean, your very typical Boise State roster.
Yeah, you know, it is a pair of one-trick mid laners, if you will, or at least mid laners who probably have their favorite champions banned out every single game. So at least Ascent's a little bit more subtle about it, right? He isn't named Best Rumble. You're going to get Katarina banned every game. They're going to say, this person's name is Best Katarina, there goes Katarina. So I like that Ascent's a little bit more humble about his play, even though we'll never see his Rumble.
Well, it was particularly really funny is looking up Best Cat. The last 10 games were like all Cat. It's like, how do you let that through? How do you not ban that out? I even had a buddy, I called him like, hey, apparently you need to watch the mid laner here for the Spartans because we got one of the best. So we'll see if that name rings true. All numbers and statistics point that way as well.
Yeah, we'll have to see here. And I'm just really excited for the Boise State draft because there's an Echo and a Lilia that you could sort of maybe flex in different roles there. I'm assuming it's going to be the Echo mid lane and the Lilia jungle, but I am very curious to see how the two new champions work out as we do come in. Yes, it is going to be the Lilia jungle, and then the Yone top for Sunlight. So something he has played a lot in Flex that I had seen when I looked him up, so definitely something that he's probably very, very confident on, as right now the Spartans going all 5 down bot lane. They're trying to find Boise State at that red buff.
It's a goon squad. This is what we were talking about yesterday. It was not punished on the side of Boise State. Is if you come up right underneath, that's the 55 seconds. So watch, they should head toward this bottom rush at around 55 seconds, and anyone left is going to be in a lot of trouble here. We'll see. So about 55, we'll take a look. Again, my screen is off. There they are. They're setting up. Moving on forward. Wards do go down. Boise State is none the wiser, but they will be found out on the side of the Spartans, and BSU should be able to get out of there with no issue. Never mind. They're going to stick around, and the 5 people jumping back in, and teleport is down, and there is so much chaos. Kha'Zix with the first blood. Headbutt coming in there from the Ornn. Real spell disaster. Argentum Sky is going to go down as well, but Ash will pick up the Ornn in the process. A 2-for-1 exchange, and it is not even a minute and a half in. Still not quite done yet. Finally, a stalemate is called.
Yeah, Boise State going to have to lose the teleport on Red Hot he had back to get back to lane, so that'll be something to watch out for. The Ignite and the heal blown for the Michigan State bot lane, so they might be very susceptible to a gank. Boise State going to forego any sort of leash, but right now they have to be careful. 1 kill on that Ashe, but she's not going to back, so right now that gold just being wasted. Boise State not going to have too many issues in the bot lane.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those things where, sure, it's one of the chaos fights. It does not necessarily set the tempo for the game, but immediately an exchange of damage here from both sides here on the bottom lane. Not any individual willing to just give up quite yet. You see Ascent putting the hurt down there in the mid lane as Best Cat was put on that Syndra.
Yeah, we'll have to see how Best Cat handles the Syndra there. I do like the Yone pick as well. I'm very curious to see, as we see a flash in from Ascent. He almost got a kill there.
That was spicy meatballs. That was unbelievable. Very, very dangerous. So early in the game to be blowing that flash so aggressively. Jungle did show up, so I figured the Kha'Zix, yeah, was going to be able to jump in there. Isolation damage being a huge thing, but they are not able to capitalize that. So expending a flash for some pretty serious pressure. You gotta love that if you're a mid lane.
Yeah, pick up another
but looks like he cut out. And Lilia going to be here as well. They're actually not done. They're going to work their way into the Boise State jungle here. And it looks like Lilia will be able to get some damage down. She is pretty susceptible to the early game, but don't forget, here comes the bottom side. Flash on in, a heal comes out. It is not quite enough as Ascent has to get out of there, but is not able to. The heal cooldown is just too much. Can Dean pull out the Battle Rocka bananas for days and does so. Meanwhile, topside, Red Hots is on the losing end of a Yone exchange.
And that has at least been the story for Boise State in this UCI Best Coast Invitational, is even though they've maybe given up some early game pressure, they usually do a good job making those 1-for-1 trades or 2-for-2 trades, as we saw right there. So good job by Boise State at least holding steady. They also, as I was in the process of saying, got the flash from Argentum Sky and the mid laner there for Michigan State. So 2 flashes in that fight as well, but a flash blown from Aqua. So not a lot of mobility going to be left on the map for a few minutes there. There's a lot of flashes already going on cooldown in the first 4 minutes.
Well, and speaking of mobility, we got a movement in here from 2 individuals on the Spartan side. They're just going to push for whatever they can. Argentum Sky going to get that one, taking down Goblin. Dean soon to follow suit. And right now, this Kha'Zix is one scary insect. We have a fight here on the top side. Flash is expended, but Lilia is here, and she's smacking people around. Just not enough to finish off the kill. Meanwhile, Ascent in the mid lane is going to reenact what happened roughly 60 seconds ago and continue to push mid lane.
Now Kha'Zix, you see Argentum Sky sitting at 4-2. He is going to be someone that Boise State is going to have to be very, very careful of. That isolation damage, if he can find out Lilia in the jungle, going to be something Boise State has to fear. As you see right there, jumps onto Ascent, almost 100-0 him before he can even get over the wall.
I really do like Boise State's ability to come back in the late game as far as the champions are concerned. Lilia needs so few resources to get going and can absolutely smack anyone in the late game. If you thought Zoe's Sleepy Trouble Bubble was ridiculous, just wait till you see what she can do with her ultimate. And then as far as Ornn's concerned, you're going to get a nice big buff of not only gold resources, but stat resources from his Forge as well. Soraka, yeah, again, I can't tell you how many Soraka games have been down 1-7. I think you were in one of those games, and we still managed to win the fight back. It just takes some time to get there. So if Boise State can stave it off, it was kind of reminiscent of last night. We could see some great things in the late game, though. So they can't quite give up hope yet. I'm sure they're not, but just in case.
Yeah, well, at least in terms of the Soraka in the bot lane, and here's Death Sentence with a nice little roam, not going to be able to land the stun. The Executioner's Calling immediately committed on the first back there for Millicon, so that is something he does not want to deal with. And then the Fairy Charm sort of got my eye there. I guess just trying to make sure he can sustain, spam out those volleys just a little bit more, but that's not something you usually see an AD carry come back with. It's just a Fairy Charm and an Executioner's Calling, so definitely scared of that Soraka healing from Dean. They don't want to deal with it at all.
It's just the state of the game as well. Get it out of the way now. Bard looking a little tricky here. We'll see what happens. Goblin not going to get locked down, but taking a little bit of damage here. And Goblin and Dean going to push them up towards the river. A lot of vision, so probably going to stave the aggression here for a second. And see, you already see right there, Dean's starting to put up a lot of healing, and it's pretty early on.
And we do see Aqua in the top lane. He is going to back. Ocean Dragon is live, and that's a 4-2 Kha'Zix who's already finished his Warrior jungle item at 6 minutes, so he can easily solo that Dragon with the isolation damage. So the bot lane for Boise State has to be very careful for another Magical Journey gank coming here in the next few minutes.
Yeah, and again, you see Kha'Zix already proccing himself 4-2. He's coming right down. Boise State has absolutely zero vision here. Soraka doing the best she can to stave off this damage. Just gonna leave Goblin out to dry, but he will pick up the other kill, so in exchange, waste of time. And it looks like Summoner's there too on the side of Boise State. But again, just a little bit of, not even the Summoner's bird. The bird healed. That is it, so nothing too bad.
Yeah, we do see Dean now just clearing out some wards. Aqua making his way down towards that bot side jungle. We'll see if he wants to contest. Yone Sunlight going to hit level 6 first. Red Hot's got the Orange Horn if a fight breaks out, but he'll just use the Echo ult built into a kit on just an E ability to teleport back in space and time, and Ocean Dragon might be the taking for Michigan State.
Yeah, might as well. That'll allow them to sustain in this lane and kind of counteract the point I was bringing up earlier. We'll just allow for them to sit in lane for longer, collect more resources. It's not the end of the world. It's if that gets stacking and we get into the later point of the game that it starts to become a little bit more atrocious. Meanwhile, another rotation here as Argentum and Boise State are found. But Dean with a great E there is going to lock them in. Flash expended from Goblin as he is going to lane the root, making sure that that bot side is going to, well, basically have to bring a tent as they've been camping that side for pretty much the entire game. The Yone ult comes in. Red Hots is in a dangerous situation. Sunlight will get the solo kill.
And just the power of Yone right there. They did get the Ignite down bot lane away from Death Sentence as well, so Boise State should be able to keep that healing going at least as much as they can with the Executioner's Calling. And the Mountain Dragon, the second one going to spawn, so we will see an Infernal or a Cloud Soul later in this game. Two of my favorite dragons, and definitely a two that can make a huge difference for Boise State. If you can get that Wish on a lower cooldown, you can get the Orange Horn on a lower cooldown, and then Sleep you mentioned. Boise State may be praying right now that it's a Cloud Drake for the third one, because a Cloud Soul would be huge for them.
Absolutely, the extra movement speed, plus you get more ultimates, like yes and please, if you will. So I'm curious to see where they prioritize this. Dean doing another great job there, putting some poke down there, locking down the enemy Bard. But yeah, as far as the late game is concerned, like I said, I'd be very curious to put Boise State's team fight to the test. I feel like that's where this game's going to explode, because a lot of the resources, almost 50% plus, have been on that bottom side, and we'll see if that's enough to tilt the overall team fight.
Yeah, right now the CS lead all in favor of Goblin. He is up 20, but the kill into pair of assists on the side of Millicon is Argentum Sky right now. Too many S words on the side of Michigan State. He is just having his way wherever he wants. He's 4-2. He pretty much can make anyone just run away and blow a flash if they see him in their lane.
Yeah, I do want to see Aqua come out of the jungle at any point. Maybe we just haven't seen it as far as the screen is concerned, where the priority is. But I haven't seen a whole lot of successful jungling as far as the lane games are concerned. That could just be a AFK farm thing here, as Ascent going to drop on in and making sure those trades are somewhat even. Ascent, this Yone here going to jump on into Red Hot and force him back as well.
I'm also curious to see that Millicon has the Tear of the Goddess, so setting up for a mana immune. That's definitely an item that has grown on some AD carries, but Ashe Tech, not one of those that you usually see a mana immune, especially not first item. Usually one Blade of the Rune King. So I'll be curious to see. He's going to be pretty weak in team fights until he finishes that, because the Tear of the Goddess not going to have any AD. So I'll be curious if Boise can punish that until he finishes that item.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. One of those things that I've just been realizing as a support player with ADs, you just don't question their build. They're like, nah, man, I want to hit faster. No, I want to hit harder. No, I've given up ever criticizing. Other than getting the BF at 1300, like right away, you know, for like dominating lane and they don't leave, I get upset. But anyways, that into the lane. Ornhorn is coming down, as well as the Lilia smacking away everybody. I wanted to see jungle pressure. This is more than enough. Yone now going to be dropped on here by Ascent. Red Hot's going to give that one over to Aqua Wink, and they are going to head over into the top.
Yeah, huge shutdown for Boise State onto Red Hot, getting a kill onto Argentum Sky. That was huge. We see the power of the Ornhorn and why Boise State would love for that to have a reduced cooldown if it is a third Dragon Cloud for Boise State and Michigan State. So definitely, I think the power of the ultimates probably sides with Boise State in terms of just CC potential. Of course, the sleep, and then there's the Rift Herald as well. That's going to be first tower for Boise State, so they're going to build a gold lead of over 1K despite being down in kills.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of the way Boise State has kind of changed over the last couple of years. Instead of worrying about the aggressive, the kill participation, things of that nature, their objective control and like lane push, like on a snap of a finger, is actually a pretty interesting thing that they have picked up fairly recent. It's very aggressive, it's early, I love it, and they'll still be able to fight for the late game. But a missed arrow there is going to mean that they are going to be able to get out of there. Perhaps Goblin, another auto death sentence, is going to take that one, but in comes the Forge God himself, flashing in his Red Hots, getting that melee there, will secure the Kha'Zix, looking for a headbutt, not going to find it, will continue to push down the bottom lane, as Dean will keep him alive. The living battery Soraka themselves helping with that one as well. Ascent gonna clear the ward, Boise State giving him one right back.
Yeah, great job by Boise State to make sure it is a 1-for-1, though unfortunately probably the last champion you want to get a kill on would be the Oranger, simply because he doesn't need that many items. He can build his own special items, but that is also something to keep in case. You mentioned the late game favoring Boise State. Those Orn items start to come online. That builds to that gold lead that Boise State has, almost up to 2K, and with that jungler dead, though he has respawned, this is full dragon priority for Boise State, so they should be able to pick up an Earth Dragon here and be a little bit more tanky.
Absolutely, and because I'm on a little bit of a lower quality, if you will, on the screen side, I can't really see the dragon timers and things of that nature, so that would have been something I brought up, and just a great move right there. Not only do they find themselves a kill and a tower up in the top lane, all 5 plates, they find themselves almost an immediate kill on the bottom side, followed up by a Drake. 3 huge pieces for the Boise State line.
Yeah, and then of course the Cloud Dragon spawning as well, so as we talked about, Boise going to love that, but it's going to be very powerful as well, so Sleep goes on to the mid laner.
Oh man, gets the flash out, and here comes the curtain call. Oh, a great Ornn ultimate there to stun him out. Had that happen multiple times, in certain instances, but now Lilia has to get out of here. Well, gonna get some help there from Ascent, and now the rest of Boise State is collapsing here. Dean can keep these guys alive. Going to be focusing on Ascent here, using the ultimate to get back. Enchanted Crystal Arrow is going to come out of nowhere, but Red Hot is able to get a combo chain down. In comes the shot from the Jin as well, and now we have ourselves a good old family-friendly team fight here in the mid lane. Going to be jumping back is the Yone, and it does look like Boise State may have gotten the better of this situation, and they will be turning back here. It's a question of whether or not Michigan State will try to continue, but they burned a lot to get that going on both sides.
Yeah, a lot burned on both sides, but Millicon joining the fight late and having full health, maybe a little bit scared that Boise State might try and stay and revert back maybe to those aggressive ways you had talked about, but as you mentioned, they've grown, they've moved on, they back, they take what they can. As you said, a ton of summoner spells blown on both sides, a ton of ultimates blown on both sides, so I love that by Boise State. Try to get a kill. All right, let's everyone back off. Let's not throw away this advantage because Boise State still has nearly a 2K gold lead, so you love to see it for the Broncos there, making sure that nobody died in that fight.
And it all started with Ascent getting super hyphy in the mid lane, and it rolled out into the jungle above them, back into the lane, throughout, you know, grandmother's house in the woods, and leads to a glorious team fight there. That was super rad to see all of these, again, like you said, summoner spells expended, ultimates, you name it, it was used. So everyone's taking a second to just breathe right now. Resetting lanes, resetting vision, looking for the next major objective or priority.
You see the Hex Drinker being finished there on Argentum Sky, so he definitely says, I only fear the magic damage of Boise State's going to be on Goblin to make sure he whittles down the last few remaining hit points of that Kha'Zix, because he's going to have that nice little magic shield coming up every once in a while. So definitely puts a lot of pressure on guys like Red Hots and Goblin to make sure they find that Kha'Zix and don't let him finish people off, because he's going to get a nice little shield when he drops below 30%.
Well, and Soraka, oh, well, I'm going to hold that thought for a second, because Ascent, it looks like he's being baited out, is going to use the ultimate, tries to flash out, but isolation damage is just oh so much. Burn the stopwatch. Is it going to be enough? He's going to get the I'm choking here. That was unbelievably awesome and great timing there from Ascent. Literally choking on my words. That was rad.
Yeah, that was insane. You saw the stopwatch come out, and you're like, okay, you just use the stopwatch to break it, and then he times it with the shield. That is the kind of thing that, like I said, I love the play I've seen from Ascent in these last few weeks. He is really coming into his own, and plays like that are just insane. They won't make a highlight reel because nobody died and nobody got a kill, but that might be the reason Boise State, at least for now, stays in the gold lead, as we might see a dive in the mid lane.
Enchanted Crystal Arrow, the stun, and the damage from Kha'Zix as well as Millicon is enough to secure Dean right there. Again, a lot expended, but they get what they wanted, and now they have control of Boise State's jungle here for a little bit until it looks like Aqua wants to get super spicy. In comes the curtain call. Not going to be able to be used for this here. The Bard ult used instead on the Lilia. Magical Journey is going to come through. Now Ascent is trying to stop this bottom lane tower from falling and is going to do what it appears to be just that. Meanwhile, a kill in the mid lane tower falls, but the kill is secured in the bottom side. A very obscure exchange of resources here from both of these teams, but everybody finding something.
Yeah, great job by Boise State to pick up a pair there. You see the Magi's finished on Aqua, so you know he wants to be all in. He wants to get as many kills or assists as he can to build up that magic damage. Bloodline on cooldown, at least for now, for Kha'Zix, but he can safely farm in the jungle, let that item come back, and then the Rift Herald drop mid should mean Boise State picking up their second tower of the game.
Yeah, absolutely, as the damage is just going to come out here from Shelly. And Boise State should be able to, never mind, they're getting jumped on there. Yone is going to find the Soraka, not necessarily able to heal herself. She goes down pretty darn quickly. It looks like Aqua will arrive in time to stave off any further aggression, but Boise State should be able to find this tower if they're looking.
I saw on Twitch chat asking if they missed something or if Manamune Ashe is now meta. Well, if they missed it, I missed it as well, because as we talked about, not what you would expect on the Ashe. Blade of the Rune King, Runon's Hurricane, usually the standard build, as we might have a pick here for Boise State, but nice disengage there by the mid laner for Michigan State.
Great scatter of the week finds Boise State. I don't know why they stayed there as long as they did on that ward as it drops. I'm immediately backing out after that, but gets caught by a beautiful scatter of the week. And if you see the damage, that's not even her damaging ability. It's just one of the many options that she has. So get ready for her to do explosive things in the next team fight.
Yeah, Boise State's got to be very aware, as you mentioned, of the Syndra in the back line, but I think Kha'Zix is still going to be the one they have to fear. They do see somebody, Baratel in the chat, saying more mana equals more abilities. I guess that's one way to look at it, but come on, everyone knows you play Ashe for the Crystal Song Arrow, and that's about it. They're really not asking him to do too much.
Oh, Red Hot with the flash, tries to get the headbutt, can't get it. Going to call the Forge God forth. Gonna whiff that one, unfortunately, so we'll pretend like we didn't see it. Yone gonna jump back into his former self. Red Hot's still not done, though. I don't know if he's got a way to continue this fight here. He may get flexed on here. It looks like Bard and Lilia are both there, so it appears instead gonna get a little bit of stun damage down, slow up the Boise State attack, and he is going to get away.
Yeah, Cloud Drake did go over to the side of Michigan State during all of that. Good job by them recognizing that Aqua might have been heading up top, and there was no Boise State vision on that, so like that pickup for the Spartans, they're going to put them a little bit closer to Soul Point, makes the next Dragon fight maybe a bit more important for Boise State, but that Kha'Zix's definitely starting to fall off after that explosive start, and I really want to see if Aqua start picking up these kills. He's been on 8 stacks on a Magi for a while, and once he gets to 20 with that built-in movement speed for 20 stacks, I don't know if anyone in the game can chase down Lilia because of how much movement speed she would have.
I don't think she even needs the movement speed from the item. Just it's impossible to chase. She's just a little Bambi jumping left and right and all nimbly bimby like, and you just can't get to her. It's not fun. And then she puts you to sleep, and then you really regret ever chasing her. She's like a squishy AP Singed. You know what I mean? It's like, don't chase her, and then she turns around, pops you a handful of times. So we'll see what happens. See, there comes the snowball, if you will, and it looks like the ultimate going to be burned immediately by Ornn. That's not going to stop the curtain call. Dean is the kill securer, if you will, as he picks that one up for his team. Sure, you'd like it to probably go to somebody else, but it's all right.
Yeah, they got the ult from Death Sentence and the arrow there for Millicon, just absolutely whipping as a root lands. This could be a tower dive.
Oh! That is a lot of combination damage there. Boise State now finds themselves another pick. In comes the Ornhorn. They are going to find out the individual and eviscerate their Lilia stacked up again. That Magi's is growing by the second, and in jumps Ascent. He's going to be pushing off the remaining Spartans here, but a headbutt to the gut is going to knock up Yone there. Aqua finding yet another one. And Boise State, it's just cleaning house and taking names.
Yeah, really all starting with Aqua landing that sleep on Millicon in the mid lane, and Boise State just rode that to a tower and a couple eliminations. Now from 8 to 20, just like that. So that is going to be one fast Bambi for Boise State. Should get a bot lane tower here as well once the minions cooperate with the Demolish. A nice counter jungle there as well. Boise State setting themselves up very nicely here in the mid game.
Yeah, absolutely. This is exactly what I was talking about. Once it gets to the team fight 5v5s, we saw very early on even. We saw that glorious 5-on-5, nobody died situation. Now Boise State finds their picks, they're finding the combo chains, and they're just opening up a serious amount of damage on the targets they find. So this should spell good things for them, and this is the exact surge that I was talking about.
Yeah, we also see Red Hot's getting closer to that level 13 where he can start to upgrade his own items and his teammates' items. Don't see anything right now on the Boise side really worth upgrading. Also got to be very careful where your items are, as it will upgrade automatically the first item in your inventory. So we have to make sure Boise State has those items ordered correctly. But once that comes online, that 3K gold lead going to grow. But Ascent right now, he might be in the wrong jungle.
Argentum's guy needs to get on out of here because there are 3 people here. He is able to flash, very good mechanic play there, and is jumping back in with the ultimate, but that should be that. Sunlight is going to pick up that one, Boise State down. And the question is what are the Spartans, as I'm being grammatically correct, going to do with this? They're going to launch an arrow into the mid lane, looking for yet another pick that had quite a bit of distance to it. In comes the Bard ultimate to lock him down again. Teleport is coming in here from Red Hot. This is going to end up being a 3v5, and they need to be careful. I'm not sure what stopped it there, but something stopped it. Oh, it looks like the Scatter the Weak on the bottom side from the Syndra ends that teleport. They are going to find damage here onto Bard. It's the night-night time as he's going to go to sleep. Meanwhile, Red Hot's rotating up, like I was talking about, tried to teleport in earlier, was not able to, but now that he is here, Boise State has turned the tide of this fight. A double kill here on the Lilia. What a sweet rotation there from the Ornn.
Yeah, Red Hot, as you mentioned, got the teleport canceled, but still realized, all right, I can just walk up to the lane, still get the Ornhorn down, and the Lilia starting to pull away there. 6-2 and 5, fully stacked Magi's. The Leandry's Torment online as well, as the top turret will go down for Michigan State. Still Boise State leading 3-2 there, and a 2K gold lead as we start to set up around that dragon with the yellow castle stopwatch timer, whatever you want to call it, appearing in the dragon pit.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see what the situation is. Looks like Red Hot has actually found Argentum Sky. Out comes the curtain call, but he is gonzo. He is nowhere near, and that will mean Boise State could have a interim setup. I mean, I hate to say like a free one here because everyone's still alive, but very, very low Argentum Sky could spell problems for the Spartans.
Yeah, and it looks like the Spartans going to push him off, and
I guess not.
Maybe Boise State content to give him the Dragon. They have to wait for a Sent to roam down with no teleport, so right now the Dragon being burned by the Spartans.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen here, but we do see the snowball come in. Red Hots with the pop. The Bard ult is going to come through. Dragon over to the Spartans, and now Boise State is taking a serious amount of damage. Lilia trying to get out of there, not going to be able to shut down there for the Bard. And it looks like this is all going in favor of the Spartans as Yone picks up Ornn there, and DSU is turning tail and retreating for the hills.
And Boise State gonna survive, just losing Dragon and 2. Maybe a third. Nice heal there by Dean, but the tower dive still on for the Spartans.
Wow, absolute aggression and disrespect. And then caught out is Ascent. 2 more fall after the play. Dear Diary, today I got a free Baron.
Yeah, this should be an easy Baron for the Spartans unless Dean can pull some miracles, but he's just going to back and wait for the rest of his teammates' screens to go from gray to colorful once again. But Boise State felt like they might have been just a tad too slow on the Dragon. Of course, I know they had to wait for Ascent to roam down, and then just once Aqua goes down, unfortunately, it really felt like Boise State's damage kind of slowed down to a crawl. So great job by Michigan State, as we do have the crucial Baron timer up for Michigan State. 2 minutes, 46 seconds, and counting down for them to be able to push some waves and maybe get a tower lead out of it.
Yeah, absolutely, and everything just kind of falls off. You see the stacks going down. They're not all gone. It's not nearly as terrible as it used to be, but it is kind of a big chunk of damage gone from the Boise State arsenal. And as far as the pushes are concerned, I mean, you take a look at the towers, it's pretty okay as all things considered. But this should give the Spartans just a little bit more of what they were looking for as they start to claw their way back. Find themselves a second Air Drake. And that's personally my way to put it. I love that. It's just so much more movement speed, and the ultimate ability cooldown is super nice.
They're going to allow Millicon to span those arrows at least a little bit more, maybe get a pick. We do see the Infinity Edge finish for Sunlight on Yone in the top lane. We see the Runon's Hurricane finish there for Millicon, getting back to more of the standard build. A lot of Boise State members, besides Aqua and Goblin, still looking for that second item. So right now, Boise State has to be very careful. That gold lead, by the way, during that Dragon Baron and that fight, shifting all the way over to the Spartan side. Now 2K up, but Ornn can start to turn that around once he gets some items that he can actually upgrade, because I don't know if there's even an upgradable item right now in the Boise State side as the fight breaks out.
Ooh, everything burned as Goblin is going to be able to get out of there. What a great move by him. Kha'Zix still pumping out massive damage. The rest of the team fight is going down. Redemption is up, but it looks like Sunlight is going to pick up that one on Aqua. The rest of Boise State has to get out of here, and the Spartans continue to push forward. Red Hot's doing his best to get out of here. Is going to use the headbutt, is able to get out, it appears, for just another few seconds. In comes the whimsical journey. Some more damage, some more healing. My sweet 77 gonna pick up that one, and Sunlight now finds the Soraka.
Yeah, Boise State taking down that Kha'Zix, but I think the damage has shifted from Michigan State, from Argentum Sky to Sunlight there, and the Yone starting to pop off 7, 2, and 4, working on that death stance as well, just going to make him even a bit more tankier with that stagger damage mechanic. So right now over Boise State, the focus has got to shift. Argentum Sky, you can still see the damage he punches out, but you've got to jump onto that Yone here. Stop him from being able to group everyone up with the ultimate, because he has been the team fight turner for the Spartans the last 2 times.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what's going on. Boise State kind of just not sure if they wanted that fight, and once again Aqua went down, you can see that they have sold the Mikhail, so that's fine. So not a situation that they need to deal with. But again, it's a matter of how much damage is being dealt, and the answer is not a whole lot on the Boise State side.
We do see Aqua now working on that Rabadon, so the first upgradable item could be on the board here very soon for Boise State. Start to cut into that 5K gold lead. Now you do have Soul Point online for Michigan State that they can contest this next Dragon over that should be spawning here in a handful of minutes as the crucial Baron play goes down for the Spartans. They're no longer going to be able to push those waves. But yeah, it's got to find that focus onto Yone and Sunlight. Maybe wants to engage here.
Yeah, it looks like the arrow is going to find its target. The rest of Boise State going to be locked down. There is the ultimate from Bard, and Soraka trying to get out of here. It looks like the Ornn Horn is going to be called. A good angle on that one. They're locking Kha'Zix down the best they can, but in comes the Yone out he goes again. And yeah, just another great pick there from the Spartans.
Yeah, going to give them all the ability to set up around that Dragon, give vision on the Boise State red side in the jungle there. Dragon now with just under a minute left to go as the castle, as I like to call it, spawns on the pit there. So Boise State knows they should have everyone alive, but they're definitely going to be fighting an uphill battle. There's going to be a ton of wards to clear out, and they're going to have to set up with no blast cone as well. So have to be very careful. Jungles are even in level, though, at least for now. So a smite battle just going to come down to who can hit their key faster.
And maybe this is me, but like a support PSA, this is the most stressful point in the game for us. It's not making sure there's a ward on Baron, making sure it's a ward on the Dragon. It's when you know that they have warded the bleep out of your jungle, and there is no way you can safely go and clear those. I can't tell you how many times you go to just clear one ward, and the 3 people you don't want to be there are there. There's Soul Point over to the Spartans. They're going to be moving and cruising with the air on their back, and the ultimate is going to be cooled down. That Enchanted Arrow has already been a problem for Boise State. It's coming even 10% faster now.
There's the arrow. It's going to miss, but they still want to fight here.
Boise State looks like they are going to stick around. There's a bit of damage going out, but Argentum Sky finds Aqua. My Sweet 17 is going to stop the call of the Forge God, and Orn is going to have 4 enemies just whittle him down. Headbutt is going to come through, but not much you can do when the entire enemy team is there. I guess most of them, I should say.
Yeah, Boise State unfortunately split up there just a little bit as Ascent and Dean down in the bot lane trying to do what they can. The Michigan State, they might even try for the end here. The death timer is not quite long enough, but they're at least going to pick up a mid-inhibitor. I'll be curious to see if they go for Nexus turrets or where they go after this inhibitor falls.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. If they get another pick, absolutely, they'll finish it here. Yeah, it looks like they will end up pushing this out. There's really not much for them to get on the map otherwise, so you might as well just go for it. Could rotate to the other side, so it looks like Ascent is going to look for that God mode play and instead be forced to use the ultimate to save his own life. Nexus turret number 1 drops Nexus turret number 2. A serious amount of damage going down there from Aqua, actually. Sleep is going to come out, but in return, a massive amount of smack in the face coming from the Spartans. Redemption is going to go down. Ascent will find Nilicon, but is it too little too late? My Sweet 77 says so. As absolutely deletes Ascent there. 4v3, and they're actually going to push out the Spartans here. Not able to finish out the game. A curious situation if you were to ask me.
Yeah, the Nexus staying alive means Boise State can at least say they accomplished the goal of extending the game, but the Ornhorn says Boise State might want to pick here as it lands onto the Syndrome.
Great scat of the week as well, and they are locked into place. In comes Yone. Boise State again, limited in numbers. Not sure what they thought they were going to get from that, except maybe a pick, possibly 2, and Aqua has just left the game. It looks like Boise State may be losing this one here. First round going over to the Spartans, but we got a best-of-3 series, so we'll see what happens. Goblin getting the fancy feet, gets scattered to weak at the ultimate coming through, able to flash away from the Yone for a half-second sunlight. Padding those stats, the Nexus drops an extra 50 gold, and the B mode for emphasis.
And Michigan State being victorious in game 1, but there's still 2 chances for Boise State here. It is a best-of-3, but the Broncos now up on the brink of elimination. Hopefully maybe some of that's arena mojo can provide them a win in game 2. As you can see, Red Hot's on screen there in the arena. Goblin a little bit to his right or his left, depending on where you're looking. There he is right there. So maybe the arena, despite the lack of fans, can still provide that nice mojo for Boise State, because it really was a back-and-forth game. Boise State just holding on to a slim gold lead. But then at that third Dragon, everything turned around. Chizu, was a huge fight and win for Michigan State, right into a Baron and a couple more picks, and they really never stopped chugging along after that.
Do you remember when Boise State got 3 super awesome objectives and we were like, yeah, that's awesome. And then Michigan did the exact same thing and then some and then won the game. The moral of the story is don't count your eggs, before they've hatched kind of thing. It's one of those situations, or chickens for that matter, where, again, I'm not sure what Boise State was looking for in some of those extended engages. Ooh, screenception. But with what happened, especially towards the end there, it's one of those kind of, not like this, surrender Cobra moments. And so I did also want to bring up that early fight was kind of indicative of the entire game. Boise State was there. They were able to trade. It was just the Spartans got that much more and ran that much farther.
Yeah, it always felt like there, as you mentioned, the trades where Boise State maybe would get 1, but Michigan State would get 2. Or it'd be 2 for 2, but Boise State have to use more summoner spells or ultimates. But Boise State, as you mentioned, they hung close. And really for Michigan State, if it wasn't for that transfer from mid-game from here comes Karazix and Argentum Sky to one-shotting your carries to Sunlight and Yone one-shotting your carries. Boise State played it right. That Kha'Zix was 4-2, finished Jungle Lion at 6 minutes, and then just fell off a cliff immediately. Could not make any plays. Unfortunately, the team fights they won. All the kills ended up on Sunlight, and that's really where the fight started to turn around, finishing 11-2 on Yone. So would not be surprised if Boise State bans away that champion when we do get into game 2.
I'm going to hand you a giant plate of crow real quick because the AP stat on the Ash, how many times that Enchanting Crystal Arrow came up, how many times they got smacked by it, and how many times it secured not only 1 kill, but more than a handful at that point. So, again, we saw a 20 stack that started right here. This is where Aqua decided that they wanted to join the game, jumping on in with the help of Red Hots. It had been a rough game up until this point, and at this moment right here, we start to see signs of Boise State. There's the kill. They'll collapse on the top. They'll get them some stuff on the bottom. But it was just later on that the wheels kind of fell off the wagon. Yeah,
it really came down to that second Cloud Drake fight. We do see some great play by Boise State. As you see there, Argentum Sky just not really able to capitalize on that Kha'Zix ass despite a 4-2 start. But there was a Cloud Drake fight where it just felt like a set. He was up in the top lane. He had no teleport. Great call by Michigan State to burn the dragon down. And Boise State just wasn't able to get in. And after they lost that fight, that's when things started to go south. But by the way, Death Sentence, some huge Bard ult, shutting down a couple of curtain calls, saving his teammates just a handful of times that really made sure Boise State couldn't pull away. So you have to give a shout out to Death Sentence making huge use of that ultimate.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was just very, very interesting how quickly things went from bad to worse. So I do think we'll get some more here in the second game, like you're mentioning. You see Aqua get in and out with the flash and then just go their merry little Bambi way. And I'm trying to figure out what review is trying to be shown to me here. He tries to get the headbutt, doesn't quite get it. And this is where Aqua and team turn this one around. Just one shot from that Q, 50% of your health goes bye-bye.
Now, you could see Aqua was really the power member for Boise State, and I liked how they played it. Of course, unfortunately, he went for the high roll, high risk, high reward build, as this was the dragon fight where I think everything started to go south. They weren't able to steal it away. A huge Bard ult separating the team, and then Yone gets just 3 members, and you can see they're CC'd back-to-back by his ultimate, and that's just where Michigan State started to pull away.
As the Kung Fu Panda once said, skadoosh. He gets all of them in the single spot and just drops them. Boise State just not able to maintain the fight. And that's where Aqua actually lost their first set of stacks. And you see the collapse here from the Spartans. It's just super, super tight. Every time they had an opportunity, whether it was the early game ganks or what we saw towards the late game is picking out, Boise State members. I really like their rotational methods.
Yeah, I liked how it was played, but hey, Boise State, they're going to take a quick break. We're going to take a quick break. We'll see if the Broncos can get on the board in game 2. Spartans taking game 1, but it's a best of 3, so there's more action coming up. But before that, we're going to take a quick break. Welcome back into the Boise State Esports Twitch channel. The Broncos unfortunately dropping game 1 of their UCI Best Coast Invitational game against Michigan State, but it is a best of 3 series, so the Broncos can turn it around, force our first game 3 potentially that we've seen from them, and maybe get their first win as well. The Broncos unfortunately sitting at 0-4 right now. But Chizu, it was a close game as we saw that one dragon fight seemed to be where everything turned. As we were talking about, that's where Aqua lost his 25 stack Magi's, and when you go for the Magi's play and you start to lose that ability power, your damage is just going to fall off a cliff. And once he didn't have those 25 stacks, then he died again. That's where that damage kind of went away for Boise State, and that's where everything turned.
And that's basically the reason I don't buy that item, like ever. I don't care how far ahead I am. I can't. The second you do that, you're almost inviting the bad juju monster to show up and just kind of like sprinkle bad juju dust all over your team fighting for the rest of the game. But again, that's just me. He sold it off immediately, tried to get himself a death cap. Didn't quite pan out, but we will see in game number 2 what they decide to go with. Again, this is an individual that ran in AD Cogmod jungle last night. So really, sky's the limit. I'm not going to be surprised if they win with anything at this point.
Yeah, we do. As you saw there, 2 players in the arena tonight for Boise State as we try and work things back to normal here, at least as normal as we can during the current pandemic. Red Hots and Goblins sitting on stage right now, spread apart, window protectors, masks on and everything. But it is nice to see players back in the arena. Maybe one day we'll even be able to look to my left and I'll see a Chizu instead of across the power of the internet in his own house. But we'll have to see. But yeah, for Boise State, I definitely think, like I said, you see the points where you're like, wow, this team can be electric. This team can be really good. It's just finishing that game, making sure you have everyone on the same page. When you had Ascent, maybe a little slow to rotate down to the Dragon. But once they get to that, you can see the power spikes, even ahead in the gold for about 20 to 25 minutes here against Michigan State. I love what I saw for the first 25 minutes. Finishing the game, it's a hard part for everybody. Boise State just needs to work on that a little bit.
Absolutely, man. And shout outs to Red Hots with his Akatsuki mask. And I think Goblin there is doing his best Pike cosplay with the bandana. So they're being, super smart about that. But as far as game number 2 is concerned, yeah, we did see 25 minutes of a great back and forth. Boise State did have a pretty sizable lead at one point in time. That happens, the ebbs and flows of the game. But you got to remember this, if I'm not mistaken, this Michigan State University team dismantled Boise State in one of the more recent times, and I believe I was even on that cast. For some reason, I'm having like nightmares about Michigan State and like what happened, but I'd have to go back. So the fact that it was close gives me hope here moving forward, especially since we saw that lead.
See if we get into the picks and bans for game 2 so far. Same thing. Katarina and Rumble taken away from their mid laners. The Nidalee ban once again, and the Camille going to move up a little bit in the ban order, but something still Boise State does not want to see. I'll be curious to see the Warwick. Going to guess that is the Yone here because there's still a little bit of a pro draft air. So Yone being banned away, and then the Grave. So the only ban change, Yone not going to be on the stage for either team here, but meanwhile Michigan State running it back, and then the Ashe immediately stolen away. See what Boise State wants to do with it.
I mean, Goblin's great on that champion. The champion all around, what the kit offers, the ultimate, like we saw, really comes in clutch, especially when you need it. So no surprise there. ADC lock right away. Again, no real surprises. The Yone ban, I'm still like team ban Yone and Lilia until they figure out what's going on there. We saw both sides of that spectrum, though. We saw that the Lilia was able to get to 25 stacks. Not a very easy feat. On the other side, that Yone came out and basically carried the late end of that game. So surprised that we haven't quite seen the Lilia ban. I guess they're not afraid of it, as Senna's going to be the first lock in here for the Michigan State University Spartans.
Yeah, curious to see what they want to do with this Senna there. There's the Lilia, by the way, not the Teemo, so they're going to pick that away. So they say, all right, you ban the Yone, we'll sort of pseudo-ban the Lilia, probably give it to our jungler there. But I am curious to see what they want to do with this Senna. By not picking the support, you can kind of mask. Is it AD carry Senna? Is it support Senna? So I do like that by Michigan State not throwing all their cards on the table, but they are going to say, we're going to take that Lilia, and I'm guessing it's going to go in the jungle, see what Argentum Sky can do on it this time.
Well, and you're talking ADC versus support. Either way, it's a Senna, and the champion offers a great kit as well. That works really well with CC chains, especially with the cross-map damage that you can do, shields to follow that up as well. But it looks like Boise State is just going to copy their draft. Anything you can do, I can do better. I'm curious here. Okay, so a Maokai pickup here. Very interesting champion as well, because I haven't seen him in quite a while.
Yeah, it was almost set up there for Boise State to just say, hey, Michigan State, let's see what we can do with your comp. But no, they'll switch it up with the Maokai. Right. But I love Aqua on the Kha'Zix. He's an aggressive jungler. We've seen it every single game. And if there's an aggressive jungler, Kha'Zix probably is in their repertoire. As we saw, the isolation damage, you can get really far ahead. You can make lanes just fear your presence, almost get a flash when you just show your head. You don't even have to be close. Like, no, I don't want to be isolated. Get me away from that champion. So I love that for Boise State. And then the Rammus picked up there for Michigan State. So this could be Lane Lilia, which you like to see from Sunlight. It is a champion he's played a lot. He's played a lot of Yone and a lot of Lilia. So I'm guessing that's a Lilia top lane that Red Hot's going to have to contend with.
My heart is filled with happy right now. I love nothing more than Rammus, the good old-fashioned okay, as you steamroll into lanes and allow for the rest of your team to just absolutely delete whoever you have locked your sights onto. And don't even get me started about building armor and then dealing damage with it. I love his ratios on the passive. Love this champion. Really enjoy this pick. And like you said, Lilia in the lane, doesn't matter which one, is devastating. I've been put in a body bag by her more times than I'm comfortable admitting.
We do see the targeted mid lane bans coming out. Zoe and Cassiopeia taken away from Ascent Diana, and then the Morgana ban by Boise State. So going to try and take away that Morgana Senna, but Thresh still on the table. He loves his Thresh. Death Sentence does. I wonder where he got his name. Probably
Weird.
from somewhere. We'll have to figure that one out. Maybe I'll Google it, but I think he likes his Thresh. So Senna Thresh, they can't have the quest now because they're on the same team, but they're still going to be a pain in Boise State's side.
Always with the quest fish. But yeah, very interesting. I stan, if you will, as far as those two champions are concerned. But Death Sentence is a beast on this champion, hence the nomenclature, whatever we're calling it. So as long as those Qs land consistently, that is my number one thing, is if you're playing a lockdown champion like a Blitz or a Thresh, something of that caliber, you can kind of get away with it with Leona. But with those champions in particular, if you're not landing those Qs, you're just wasting time, resources, and energy literally at that point to try to get something you're not able to find. So I have no complaints with the bottom side. We saw just how fast they got to where they needed to with that jungle pressure, and we'll see if that will be the same story here in game 2.
You see the Azir picked up there for Ascent, something he played last night in the show match against Dixie State, played it very successfully. If you are just joining us, you see a couple of unfamiliar champions as the Blitzcrank, the last lock-in. The Teemo is a Lilia, and then the Warwick band for Boise State is a Yone. Still trying to work on the splash art for Pro Draft there. So no Teemos, no Warwick scared bands. Those are Lilia and Yone respectively, as Victor, the last pick in there for the side of Michigan State. I love that pick. Definitely not a mid laner you see every day.
Well, Spartans got themselves a little death ray they wish to unleash upon the Broncos. I love that champion as well. I really like the setup here from the side of the Spartans. Again, brought up Blitzcrank on the other side of Boise State, so a great, grab champion. But just the overall AoE damage throughout everything that you have here. Through the Death Sentence, lockdown with the Tremors, you've got everything that basically Vladimir does. Senna to be there to pop, lock, and drop whoever she needs to, and Lilia to make them sleep if they don't, just from loss of damage. Really like what the Spartans got together here.
Yeah, and the one thing, anytime someone picks up Blitzcrank, I always like to say, all right, who is the worst case scenario for you to hook in? And I would have to say it's probably those mid three there for Michigan State. The Lilia, you probably don't want. She can land one Q and maybe get a 5-man sleep. You obviously never want the Rammus, and then the Thresh as well. You're just going to allow him to drop the box. So, Dean, you know what? I believe in him. I'm not saying he's going to miss it, but he's got a 3 and 5 chance to hook in the wrong champion. So a lot of pressure on him to make sure he starts fights with the right pick.
You're just playing numbers and statistics at that point, Fish. That is absolutely okay, because that feels bad as well. On the other side, you take a look at Boise State, a lot of lock. A lot of CC and hard ones at that, from the Shurima Shuffle displacement to the Blitzcrank grab and the punch. You've got the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, there it is, to lock down somebody and open up the floodgates, if you will, for the Cossacks to get the isolation damage. So both of these drafts have their opportunities. They just need to be done correctly. Maokai, I love his ultimate. I play that champion simply because of that as well.
So you can see some of the players in here. Of course, it is not all 5 players, as we still are making sure we're being compliant with social distancing, but starting to figure out how to get back to what could be a new normal here. So we do have 2 players, Red Hot and Goblin, up on the stage, but you can see face masks on. You can kind of see those shields in between each computer if we ever do get the opportunity to put more people on the stage. But as you see, as they wave for the cameras, they load into the game, something that we are taking very seriously. I saw in the chat as well, they are playing on some of the original blue turf under their feet, and then you see the production team right there, still the face shields, still the shields in between each computer, a skeleton crew as well, but as I said, trying to work more people back in here while still trying to be compliant with social distancing guidelines. And of course, you can pick it up on the desk. I don't have a mask on because you were just here, but Chizu and I, unfortunately, not in the same spot. Hey, he brings it out. It's for the wrong team, but I still like the Rammus hat.
Hey, there are no wrong teams in League of Legends. I realize we're on Boise State stream, but I got to be a partial caster. Also, I don't know what's going on here. Maybe he ate like Nunu or something. But yes, I love me some Rammus, man, and I'm just very excited because this should be, if I am not mistaken, should be a pretty intense game as far as the action we're going to see throughout the course of the early game. Again, you've got a Kha'Zix. We saw just how early he likes to get in. Towards the late game, you're going to see the Rammus start to peak up as well. It really hurts to hit that guy, and he hits you even harder back, and you can't really leave for a couple seconds. So I want to see the jungle difference in this one here.
Yeah, and the Rammus, not the greatest duelist, but he is going to be able to sort of lock down Aqua if he does try and invade on the Kha'Zix, maybe allow his teammates to rotate over with the taunt. So you can't counter jungle as effectively, but if you can pick him off, maybe that taunt's on cooldown, maybe he's just used the defense curl on a camp, then you can maybe find some ways, but it's going to be a little harder for Kha'Zix to free roam the jungle. So yeah, I love the jungle matchup, and I want to see what they do at level 1, because last time that was a Michigan State full send on the Boise State red buff. All chaos broke out, and the Spartans ended up winning that one 2-1. So I want to see with a Rammus this time, I'd have to think you stay back, but you have to worry about a Blitzcrank invade. You still have the Thresh. So that level 1 for both sides, where they want to go, going to be very interesting.
I don't feel confident, but I do it if I'm either one of these teams. And then it ends up being the ring around the rosy where, like, you go to my red buff, we went to your red buff, or, vice versa. And vertical jungling might actually become a thing. I'm not entirely sure. Both of these teams showed that, yeah, they like to invade in the past and in the present for that point. Boise State was set up on an aggressive side looking for anyone to throw a ward over that wall and perhaps collapse upon them. Little did they know the aggression was coming from behind. So, yeah, the early level 1 is going to be an interesting one. Like I said, if I am either one of these teams, I'm doing it, and it leads to vertical jungling, I'm sure, or you try to find the early ward and go from there.
And in the last game you were talking about for the red side invade, how you wait till 55 seconds and you rotate up from the golems. I would still love to see what I like to call the blast cone, where you go up onto the blast cone from the blue side, you wait till it spawns at 135, and then you are right over the wall. The 4-man death squad appears on your buff. You get the dunk smite potentially from the jungler, and you go from there, especially with the Blitzcrank, to maybe counter someone's flash. So I'd love to see the blast cone delayed invade from Boise State with the Blitzcrank. Dean can just walk up, hook that blue buff over the wall, and just slow down that Rammus even more. And we all know Rammus is not burning through that jungle level 1.
Right, absolutely. He doesn't burn through much of anything unless it's your lane at that point, as far as the jungle is concerned. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what the situation is. I'm more curious to follow up on the mid lane, if you will. Again, the Azir pick is something that needs to be done very, very well. And I'm not saying Ascent is not capable of doing that. We've seen his mechanics prowess. The lock-it into the stun, into getting out, that was absolutely absurd. I need to see these streamer shuffles getting into a good spot, but not right on top of the team. You know what I mean? You got to be careful with that. We've seen a lot of scary situations with certain teams jumping in, they shuffle and push the rest of the team right on top. And you're like, oh, okay, well, I was an ADC.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a lot on Ascent, but like I said, he played this last night against Dixie State. I love how he played it, so I'm very, very confident that he is going to have success on that, as we are just seconds away from heading into Game 2. Boise State dropping Game 1 of the UCI Best Coast Invitational here in a 3-game series against Michigan State. So there is still chance for a comeback, still chance for Boise State to break that 0-4 record and maybe get a first win in the column, but it's going to start here with the Game 2. You can't start thinking ahead. You can't win a series back when you're down 1-0 in Game 2, but you can eliminate yourself by maybe going a little too crazy. So I want to see Boise State calm, collected. We saw them play that perfectly. Don't get too aggressive. Take the trades when you win them. And I think Boise State, if they do that, setting up very well for a Game 3.
Well, and I don't want to be argumentative in any shape or form, but I want to see Boise State just flip the script. We play these games, we get ahead, late game shows up, it doesn't necessarily go so well, at least during this tournament, if I was to be so candid. But again, I want to see them just go. Just gas, pedal, whatever, accelerator, all the way to the floor and go. Because I know what this team is capable of. And we have seen they want to do it. I don't know what is necessarily stopping them, because it's not the opponent, as we've seen. They need to stop hesitating. If they are going to make a move, they need to do it at an instant notice. And that's, I feel like, the shortcoming right here. So if they can do that, I'm curious to see what happens. But again, the Broncos versus Spartans, and Boise State is already down 1.
It looks like we do have Goblin there in that tri-bush, watching out for anything too cheeky, but looks like Michigan State just fully content. Everybody chilling right by that blue buff. You don't even have the full Boise State squad there. You can see Red Hots and Aqua up on the top side. So I don't think we're going to see any funny business level 1. Maybe Dean goes in for the hook to reset it, but if that, I would be shocked if anything more happens. Do have the Conqueror on Sunlight in the top lane for Lilia. We saw the Dark Harvest being played by Aqua last time, but that is more of a jungle keystone. So we'll see how that Conqueror sustain goes up against Red Hots on the Maokai. And now the delayed invade might be coming out here after Lilia goes back. But nope, it's just a ward, psyching us all out. They don't want to make sure that Blitzcrank hooks anything over the wall.
No, sure, that makes absolute complete sense. My head was kind of, cocked to the side for a quick second because I'm looking at this top lane matchup, all right? So if we were talking about how Lilia cannot get caught, there's one champion that can pretty much guarantee that you will get caught, and it is the Maokai. You use your Twisted Advance, you have the ultimate, as well as the saplings to slow her down, if I'm not mistaken. So really like that pickup, and then I'm always a big fan of trying to negate healing, especially on a passive champion, taking the Ignite in the top lane instead of the teleport. Very interesting move there from the Lilia, but it will stop this every third stack Maokai from basically just running this lane over.
Yeah, we did get the blue buff start there for Aqua. I'm curious if he wants to maybe go level 2 up top and shut down Sunlight, but for now, we'll have to wait and see the first grab, as you mentioned. Have to keep an eye out for Thresh and Blitzcrank Qs. The first miss for Dean, unfortunately, as the emotes come out, the spam, letting him know, hey, did you not see you missed that Q? Let me remind you with an emote spam.
Yeah, you might as well. It's not a BM, it's just a reminder. It's, for next time. That feeling of, what's the word I'm looking for? Remorse? I don't know, you'll figure it out. A hook there from Dean leads to a lot of summoner spells already expended. The question is, will Goblin be able to get the kill? Nope, just more damage there onto the Senna, and I keep flicking my mouse up to try to take a look at health bars.
Unfortunately, not in control of the camera. The directed camera takes us where he wants, but right now you can see Sunlight already going to be a pain in Red Hot's side, poking him all the way back to his tower there. Not a lot of mana usage on that champion, even for how spammy her abilities are. And Aqua not choosing to do anything with that blue buff start. He's going to rotate down more traditionally to red, so I'll be curious to see if he wants to come through the lane, because that Boise State bot lane pushing very far forward means a lane gank could be in the future for Aqua if he wants to take it as he rotates down.
Yeah, they're pushed up a little far ahead. They'll let this crash back towards them. I think it might be a little too much. Oh, actually going for the lane gank. I love this. Remember how I talked about go? This is so go, it's not even funny. If Dean is able to land this rocket punch, which is going to be a little tricky, hiding out in the alcove will be the crazy insect guy that will absolutely shred you if given the opportunity. Let's crank right there. They're going to bait in the hook. Maybe a bait, but in it jumps the Kha'Zix. It's now a 3v2, and Boise State absolutely dupes the Spartans and get the rocket punch as well, forcing the last of the bottom lane summoner spells to be expended.
For a moment there, that went to pure fear for me. The 3-man root from Millicon I thought was going to shut down that gank in the process and watch Goblin die while no one could move, but a great job by Boise, as you mentioned. Every summoner spell on cooldown. Great job by Aqua capitalizing on a push lane to get up into that alcove. And you see the pings going out. There might be something going down in the mid lane, and I don't know if Michigan State knows. There's a Blitzcrank on the way.
Help, help, help. Anyone? Question mark? Yeah, exactly the case there as this top lane. This is an interesting top lane. Again, you have the hyper-aggressive damage, and here comes Rammus. The rest of Boise State is here, but also Thresh in the wings as well. Flash into the Powerball. They're doing a ton of damage to this Rammus. Thresh is going to get, or Blitzcrank for that matter, gets pulled in. Ascent is going to find Argentum Sky. The flash and the pop in the air leads to a double kill. Ascent is feeling great after that one, with some help from some friendly neighborhood bot lane and jungle.
Yeah, Boise State, they thought maybe they had the advantage there with Blitzcrank and Dean, but great read by Death Sentence. Realized, hey, I don't see that support down there. Let me rotate mid, but doesn't matter. As you said, Ascent picking up a pair of kills. That's going to go a very, very long way to allowing him to bully that Victor. Sunlight right now doing a ton of damage to Red Hot, even with all that sustained. Boise State maybe has to content to just throw away that top lane. You see the CS 34-17. Maybe not much you can do, but Red Hot's doing a great job staying alive, and that's really all that matters.
Right, exactly. In the setup, like we were talking about, the hyper-aggressive nature of Lilia, she's able to prance around and literally run circles around you. Maokai is definitely on the slower spectrum of things, but does basically show up as a late-game engage tool, if you will. So as you said, he just doesn't have to feed the other guy. It's the kind of a curse of victory, if you will. Lilia really wants to get as much as she can, and she is getting it, but this Maokai will be something they need to pay attention to towards the late game.
See the first back come in. The Stinger picked up there by Ascent. The first Hex Tech upgrade on the board for My Sweet 77. And then the Cole picked up by Goblin. No back yet, though, for Millicon. Be curious to see if he wants to go with the lethality builder. If he's going to go Tear of the Goddess, we would think he'd have to. As Red Hot does hit level 6 first, but I don't know if he's going to have enough damage to 1v1 down this Lilia.
Yeah, and like I said, I hardly would ever use the ultimate for a 1v1 kill. You can basically get what you want with the Twisted Advance. Again, more of a team fight mechanic. But once somebody shows up, you can use it as a disengage tool too if Rammus decides to rotate up here. So we will see what Red Hot decides to do. Should know what's going on here. Is going to burn ultimate, only finds one, but instead is not actually able to get the lockdown whatsoever. He just whacked the ultimate. I'm curious to what exactly happened there. Meanwhile, bottom side, Kha'Zix is going to jump in there and find another one. Aqua picking up death sentence there off of a great rocket grab there from the Blitzcrank.
Yeah, I think Red Hot and Sunlight were just on top of each other. I think Red Hot thought, oh, he's going to go to the bush where he doesn't have vision, and he guessed that way with the ultimate. Lilia with enough movement speed. Nice rocket grab, though. And then,
oh no!
Is he going to get it?
Looks
He
like
is!
Ignite.
As we do see, we had some predictions on screen. First Dragon for Boise State. You think they'll pick this one up? I would have to say, with that pickup, they should be well on their way.
Yeah, absolutely. We will see what the situation is. If that happens again, it could be a beautiful, beautiful turnaround here. The run back, if you will, for Boise State. Gonna steal the opponent's blue because why not? You've got the ground, and so far, so good for the orange and blue Spartans looking for any kind of momentum here.
Got some other predictions on screen. Somebody predicting another pentakill for Aqua. 2 in 2 days would be quite impressive. And then somebody else with the prediction that Dean will carry the early game. And you have to say, with 100% kill participation, that one is definitely coming true. 1-0-4 on the Blitzcrank, and Boise State up 5-0 as the Broncos going to pick up that Infernal Dragon. So already a huge change from last game. The Broncos dominating this early game, nearly a 3K gold lead as we near the 8-minute mark.
I said, let's go, and Boise State responded with, okay, how fast? Because right now they are looking absolutely flawless and flossy. And again, just all on the back of the Brobot himself. Beeps and boops all over the lane, 100% kill participation, and that is the Dean we are used to seeing. And right now, all lanes looking great. Top lane, it is what it is, but still sitting at 0-0-0. Not terrible.
The prediction, Lilia not going to pick up any kill onto Maokai until team fights break out, and even then it will not be her primarily doing the damage. So a lot of confidence that Red Hot is going to stay alive, but this could be a kill as there's a potential for a sleep as it lands onto Aqua.
Yeah, and in comes the Rammus. The taunt is down and just whittles him away. The rest of Boise State is here, or not the rest, but 2 members of Boise State are here. In comes the Senna ultimate, meaning Michigan State is all shielded up. The grab through the wall! Oh my goodness, Dean is going to basically give that 1-for-1 over. What a great grab there from the support to basically stabilize what they just lost.
Yeah, good news for Boise State. I guess if you want to say good news, the shutdown from Aqua did go on to the Rammus, so that gold not going to be converted into too much damage there. So you see some damage come out, the death sentence is going to miss. The other thing I wanted to say is they were able to deny Millicon from getting that Manamune on the first back, so he's not going to have that Tear of the Goddess stack, and you have to basically go for a pickaxe to be competitive in lane. So he's going to be a little bit behind the 8 ball until he can get that Manamune where he can get the Tear stacking from auto attack. So Boise State should have a very large advantage, at least in the 80 carry side, for quite a few minutes here.
Yeah, they're going to get themselves some plates here, as well as Dean's going to clear this little ward here, but it looks like the Spartan's going to be quick to respond here with the Victor. Great lane clear. He's just going to burn those guys down with his laser, if you will. And that's going to be that as far as bot lane is concerned. And first Infernal Drake over to Boise State. They're going to love this. Moving on to the next one here in the very near future. No one really prioritizing Herald as of yet. Not feeling that confident. But this game is starting to get explosive.
Yeah, I mean, not probably an opportunity for the Herald to pick up the 2.5 plates needed that she can take out immediately. In the top side there's still 4 left, and you don't think a Maokai is going to push it down too hard. There are 3 plates on the bot side, so maybe you can pick up something, but right now they want to go in the mid.
Beep, the boop, bop, and almost gets the follow-up there. Not able to grab the lantern. They stand right on top of it. There's that arrow that we were talking about, and Boise State will find themselves one, and then should generally head over to the Rift Herald like I was just talking about.
Yeah, they're setting themselves up perfectly. Go Rift Herald. You can get that 3-4 man dive in the top lane, be able to pick out some of those plates. We do see the pings coming out from Boise State. Not quite sure where Lily is. She's just doing some golems, trying to farm when she can. But yeah, this should be a very easy first tower for Boise State for the second game in a row. And that should get this gold lead up to maybe 4 or 5K for the Broncos, as they have been all Boise State in the early game.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's not give him the old cast or curse here. There's always a possibility to throw it dragon here in about a couple of minutes. But with that said, I do see beautiful things. Another engage, the ultimate 2 isolation damage means bye-bye for you. The rest of Boise State will collapse here on the remaining top laners. Ram is pushed on out. Here comes the teleport from Ascent, so you're going to add more people to the fray, as are we. Red Hots with the Twisted Advance, looking to get out, will not be able to do so. Rift Herald also going to show up here. That tower of yours, not long for the world, nor are you, as it charges right on in. And so does Boise State University. It looks like the isolation damage here on the Senna is what they are going to prioritize. Aqua is giving it all and is going to get it. Shelly could even get a second charge on the top lane, but the fight not quite finished yet, as Boise State looks to charge down the remaining Spartans, as Ascent will lead the way. A death ray is going to come through. Dean is on the hunt. The Brobot is looking for a grab. Movement speed is not going to be there. Looking for somewhat of an execution. But Enchanted Crystal Arrow not going to land. Here comes a big old tree. A rocket grab to follow. In comes the ultimate. They burned a lot of time, but that is all they're going to get. Boise State with the delayed ace. Whew.
Yeah, great job by Boise State there. The respawn timer on Red Hot almost perfectly to say, hey, will you go in for the suicide there? Because I'm going to pick you up and you're not going to go anywhere. So great play by Boise State, getting the tower, getting, as you said, the delayed ace. Dean might even try and bully Argentum Sky here. Blue buff was at 1 health, but Dean didn't have a ward, so he wasn't able to steal it away. But Boise State, as we say, 6K gold lead, 12-3 right now. Dean trying to set up a death push as he goes over the wall, just misses. And Boise State with this dragon spawning, feeling very confident right now.
Dean is a rude dude with attitude. He's pulling everything that he can and then some. Almost found himself a Rammus in the jungle, or at least the blue. The buff is up, and Boise State is on it. They need to do something here, but Dean, not the healthiest of individuals. Looks like Goblin gonna get locked up and dropped here. Boise State actually going to pick up the dragon. He's not down yet. Okay, finally is going to go. One shot, one Q there from the Kazakhs was enough to get rid of 50% of Thresh's health. Looks like they're calling for the retreat. The Red Hots is stuck in the dragon pit, and oh my gosh, they're gonna get it through. It was all a bait, JK bro, just a prank, as they are going to lead one into the open arms of Blitzcrank.
Great job there by Boise State, handling that one perfectly, even after losing Goblin. So now they're going to have Ocean Dragon for the rest of the game, which means they can pick up that Ocean Soul. Red Hots might be nigh unkillable, and that's the last thing Michigan State wants to deal with is right now Sunlight not popping off as much as he did on the Yone there. You see Aqua over the wall, not quite able to find some isolation damage, but 7, 1, and 5, definitely saying, hey, you guys were pretty good on Kha'Zix. Let me show you pretty great.
Absolutely. Let me show you perfection. As yeah, just all over the place as far as fights are concerned. More than just opening up a tent and sitting in bot lane for the first 15 minutes of the game. Again, 2 different styles of play. You can always tilt a member out of a game, and I think that's fair play as well. So great to see that even given the other person's champion, Boise State is able to do what they need to. Michigan, again, Michigan State, we can't quite count them out quite yet. Again, they do have some pretty gnarly champions, but I don't know if they're going to be able to get to that late game skill they're looking for, especially if this is just the 15-minute mark.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for me for Michigan State right now is how long is it going to take Senna to get online? He has finally finished the Mana Immune, but it's just now stacking, not finishing the Tier Goddess first, so he's going to take a little bit. The Essence Reaver already done on Goblin. He can transition into his next item, but yeah, until Senna comes online, she's going to be in for a world of hurt as the isolation damage nearly one-shots her.
Yeah, and it looks like the taunt here, again, this is not something I think Kha'Zix wins out on. The Tremor is used as well, exactly. So 1-for-1 exchange, but the message was sent. You're not safe on your own. I'm a scary bug guy. I think that was the message. I could be wrong, though.
No, I definitely think that was the message, and then you get the Edge of Night as soon as you get back to base. Maybe it was just for a quick recall for Aqua there, but it looks like this could be a tower dive with the Death Sentence, and a Ram is waiting, but nobody wants to finish up anything, and now a flash grab just misses.
Oh, and the Twisted Advance coming through. There it is, the ultimate to follow. Everyone's going to be locked down. Boise State has a weird number situation going on here. Red Hots is going to be pulled all over the place. Senna ult's going to come through. Red Hots will say, guys, go, and nobody did. But now it looks like it's 9-9 times for Goblin. Royal Blitzcrank going to equalize that kill here, burning the Ignite. Never mind, the Thresh still alive. Ignite is not going to be enough. Dean locked in there by the bubble. Will he be able to get out? Not the case. Billycon gets themselves a kill there, the first, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, as you mentioned, it felt like Red Hot saying everybody go in, and everybody unfortunately just kind of watched that tree get turned into their paper because they just kind of sat around and then they got picked off. So that's where we talked about where Boise State, you know, there's the go all in, everybody firing all cylinders, or there's the take the trades mode thing there. And I think maybe both sides came up in Discord and said, one guy said, let's get these kills, and the other guy said, let's not. But Aqua right now, he wants a kill. I want to see this one-shot her. Almost. Two-shot.
We're getting there. It's coming. Just you wait. Again, Senna, you're not safe, and you're also not worth a whole lot of gold at this point either. So, I'm not that I'm not sure what they're doing. I mean, obviously you get the objectives with that, but I want to see Kazakhs kind of starting to look at other places. Getting that pick definitely is going to help for the major objectives, but there isn't really anything up that they have any agency to go get. They could look for this Rift Herald here in just a second. So that looks like what they're going to do, and instead Goblin heads towards the mid lane to just crash on that.
Yeah, well, with the isolation damage, I'm sure Aqua can just kind of burn through this Rift Herald, so it looks like everyone else sort of setting it up. I'll be curious where they drop it. You do have the Tier 1 top tower gone, so maybe you can drop it top, get a dive onto Lilia, maybe you can get a charge onto the inhibitor turret up in the top lane, or maybe you just throw it mid. You know it's a guaranteed kill in the mid lane, and you maybe even pick up another one if a team fight breaks out. As we see Argent of Sky, no idea where he's going right now.
Wow, and what's funny is he didn't even have to hit him there with the uppercut. He could have just walked into him and then hit him with the rocket grab. Great Lantern will save the Rammus, as it looks like we are going to burn an ult for some reason or another. And in jumps Ascent here, is looking to do damage as much as he can on this Victor and doing a serious amount at that. Blue team summoning up Rift Herald here. It is going to be in the mid lane, just looking to break open the door.
Heraldine and they're going to get the first tower down. We'll see if they can get another charge there. They do find the blue buff for Michigan State. Going to take that one. You can see Dragon now starting to creep up on the spawn timer. Dragon here would actually put Boise State on soul point. The Ocean Dragon, something that just gives you a ton of sustain as Dean goes for the blind hook and was just barely off. So Boise State can rush down this Dragon, especially with the Kazakhs damage. They're going to put a ton of pressure on Michigan State to make sure they stay in the game, especially around that next Dragon spawn.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Boise State just basically in the driver's seat from second one. Have there been questionable plays? Absolutely. But Ocean Point here for Boise State University. They're going to love this one here, and it's going to just continue to help them do what they've already been doing.
As you see there, so Ocean Point, 18 minutes into the game for the Broncos, which means that next Dragon is going to be something Michigan State has to be wary of. Maybe if you're Boise State, you just trade that for a Baron, because you're okay with one Ocean Dragon. It's when you get to 2, 3, even the Soul is when you start to say, how do we even kill them? So I would love to see a Baron trade on the next Dragon spawn for Boise State, because you know Michigan State has to contest.
Also, that skin for Ashe, the sound of the Qs hitting the is just one of the most satisfying noises in the entire game. If you don't believe me, go try it yourself. It looks like Kazakh's going to pick up his own blue, find himself a Toad, and both teams just going to reset here and get ready for the next incoming fight.
And you can see the Lichbane finish now on My Sweet 77, so he's going to have a little bit more damage in team fights. Ram is still working on his second item. Sunlight has the Leandries finish, but nothing else. You can see Boise State Kazakhs finishing his Yo moves now, so he's 3 items down. You can see the Leandries being worked on there by Ascent as well, so Boise State has to feel comfortable the next time a fight breaks out that they're going to be the ones with superior damage. It's just, can they convert it? Can Aqua find a pick onto maybe someone like a Victor? Because as you mentioned, Chizu, yes, it's great to one-shot the Senna. She's 1 in 5. You got to pick out the Victor. You got to pick out the big damage targets this time for Michigan State, because right now, Senna's just existing as a playable cannon minion.
Well, and I'm curious to see what happens when the Bug meets the Bambi, especially if she is not in the middle of a team fight off on her own in a lane like she is right now. If that one-shot mantra will still ring true. Again, just gaining the resources, but it looks like a full team fight is going to be happening here. Oh, and what a great twisted advance Q combo there for Red Hot to set that up. Aqua is able to get the first one. A rocket punch is going to set up another. Red Hot finds Billy Khan. The Shurima Shuffle. He's going to find 2 more there for Red Hot's. Ascent is going to pick up the victor there. And Boise State, unrelenting, find the ace. And this is Baron for free. Congratulations. Here you go. And it looks like Aqua has disconnected from the game, which is super convenient considering they're going for Baron. Oh, was there a surrender?
There must have been a surrender. Yeah, that was a surrender for Michigan State. Not something you see very often. In 20 minutes, they got ace. They said, you know what? Let's run it back. So the surrender forced by Boise State. So the Broncos heading to a game 3. What a play by Aqua there. Boise State victorious. So they have a chance now to pick up a victory here as we head to game 3, Chizu. And I don't know if you can call it the salty run back, but Boise State definitely saying, hey, that was a cute Kazakhs Michigan State. Let's show you how Aqua plays it.
All I can really say is there's like this really bad taste in my mouth. Like, I don't know. I get the surrender vote, but like, okay, I guess. I don't know. I think that's the first surrender vote I have ever seen in my collegiate career. So I don't know. It's weird to me. I don't know how much I like that, but yeah, Boise State was on a roll. So I guess if anything, the salty surrender. I feel like they definitely could have fought their way back, especially with the champions that they had and the way that they scale. I realized the Kazakhs was out of control, but 1 fight, 2 fight, 3 fight game. I might be focusing a little too hard on this, but like I said, it just is weird. I don't know how much I like that as far as the game is concerned.
Yeah, it is definitely weird, especially at 20 minutes, but I guess maybe they thought the Baron, they'd get one more team fight. Maybe they just thought they'd save themselves 7 minutes, but they know that we have a game 3 now, and now this Kazakhs becomes priority number 1 for both teams, right? I mean, you saw what they did, what Michigan State did. It didn't translate to the late game, but it started them out well, and then Aqua just forced a 20-minute surrender on his Kazakhs. So I guess this has to be banned away. Probably substitutes the Nidalee ban, I would think, that they've thrown out a handful of times that we haven't seen Aqua play, at least in the UCI Best Coast tournament. But yeah, Kazakhs is now priority number 1 in this game. Something I expected, because there is another jungler on the Michigan State roster who plays it a bunch, but not what I expected after the changeup, but still something crazy to think of going into game 3.
I would 100% just get rid of the champion entirely. Unless you are going to first pick it and can, not get rid of it entirely, but I just wouldn't risk it. If you want it on your first place slot, sure. It worked out for both teams, might be a priority. But overall, I say get rid of that card entirely. Show me what you got.
Hey, if you look, I mean, the bans for Michigan State in the first round been the same both times, the Rumble, Nidalee, and the Grave. So I'm guessing you probably just dropped the Nidalee. I don't think that Rumble is what they're going to plan on dropping for a Kazakhs ban. But yeah, what do you do with that champion? Do you ban it? Do you fully intend on first picking it? He's going to be priority number 1 for both sides. But when you've been banning out all of Aqua's champions, throwing another Kazakhs ban in just means that's so many more champions opening up for Boise State. So Aqua doing a great thing in the game, and then that translates to sort of hard carrying in the ban phase where he's getting 4 bans almost every round.
This could be one of those situations where they're going to force a ban out, and we could see one of those power champions from any one of these laners in the jungle as well. I mean, consider that a lane, if you will. But that could spell some interesting situations. So we'll see who gets side selection. We'll see who gets first pick and how the bans are going to mold from there, I guess. Again, I am looking at the overall. If you are surrendering a game in a collegiate tournament, I realize it's not a big deal, but you've got sponsorships, you've got everything. That to me smells a smidgen of tilt, like just a little taste of salt. And I don't like that, and again, it can work the other way if I'm not mistaken, but like you have just shown your opponent that you can get smacked in the face and just walk away from the game and essentially not care. And again, maybe I'm going a little bit on a tirade here, but it was 20 minutes in. How many 20-minute games have you been down 10,000 gold and fought your way back, especially in a tournament setting?
Yeah, no, I have to completely agree with you. I mean, like you said, you and I saw the Aqua has left the game. We're like, did we just get a disconnect at the worst time? And then everything goes into stasis, and you're like, oh, that's a surrender. So, yeah, I have to agree with you. I mean, you have to maybe someone else on the team's having issues. I mean, the only way, like you said, that you can maybe justify a surrender in a collegiate tournament is someone else is lagging, someone else has to restart, someone's computer's had a Windows forced update because, yeah, I agree with you. That's not something you see very often. And it has to be maybe they just said, you know what, this Rammus didn't work work for Argentum Sky. It was a new jungler that we heard of as the day started, and he doesn't have many jungle games played, so maybe something he just isn't comfortable on. But even then, you still have to play to your out, still play to your opponent, even disconnecting. But as we hop into the picks and bans here, Katarina's still banned away, and here's one change, the Ashe ban for Michigan State. So Rumble still on the table for now, at least.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see what happens. Everyone's clamoring for the silver scrapes, so I'll give you the dwee-doo-doo, dwee-doo, as we jump into game number 3, my best Mark Z impression, and the Rumble ban gonna hit the table as well.
And that Warwick is a Yone, so that is going to be taken off. And then Boise State actually surprisingly banning away the Kha'Zix, so they say we don't feel comfortable first picking it. Yeah. We know Michigan State would first pick that given the opportunity, so you can't hate it on that side. But that does mean Camille, for the first time in this series, going to make it through. Want to see if Michigan State maybe picks that up in the first 3 picks.
Absolutely. It could be one of those activated my trap card situations, as Kha'Zix is going to be removed there as well. So I'm curious to see what happens. First pick, though, love him with or without his tobacco usage. It's looking to be a Graveslot.
Yeah, we'll have to. I am very curious to see what summoners Aqua wants to run, because we've talked about his aggressive play. We've seen Smite Ignite Graves, which had its merits, but also had a quick draw over a wall into 4 enemies and no flash to escape. So I want to see how aggressive it's going to be, as apparently, Chizu, your 2-second rendition of Silver Scrapes not enough. The chat's still clamoring for more as the Karthus pick there for Michigan State.
Hey, if Boise State finishes the salty run back, you can come check out my stream after this. Myself and the crew will be running games back, and I will sing you a lullaby. As again, cards is picked up. I hear the famous words of Baratel in the back of my head. One of our other Boise State casters going, "I don't like him as a jungle. All he does is run around, throw Skittles at people, and hit R." A fierce champion, but very, very slow clear time.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see. I mean, it might even be maybe a Karthus mid. I mean, once Katarina's been banned away, it's sort of everything's on the table. He does have some fizz in his history, so be curious to see if that comes out. The Ezreal pick, though, being picked up, so maybe even fearing a Blitzcrank lock-in, because you can, of course, shift away at mid-hook, so the Sivir comes out from Boise State. So 2 new 80 carries on the Rift. Support's going to be very interesting to see what gets kicked down.
We did see Sivir last night in the hands of Goblin, and it worked out well. Another situation with that, as we talk about game pacing, anytime I see a Sivir, I assume the game is going to 35, 40, 45 minutes, because it does take a while for her to scale up unless she gets the necessary resources for some other reason. I love the Karma pick. That's more of a personal bias than anything else. One of my favorites. Mantra Q just feels really, really good. Also, the Mantra Shield in the late game also feels pretty good as things work. And it always is a nice gold star on the day when you can tether somebody down during the team fight and allow for your team to continue to fight or get an extra pick, as somebody who only has one real big CC ability, if you will.
The Bard run back there for Death Sentence, so not going to go with his namesake there, but going to go with the Bard that actually played phenomenally well, saved several members from death, locking down curtain calls and other abilities. So love to see that Bard pick. The Diana ban flashed on screen there for a second. I would believe that to be true. Boise State has banned that away every single time that we've gotten to the second ban phase, but of course they have to realize, is that potentially Karthus jungle? I'm going to guess with Galio on the board, that is supposed to be Diana ban. There you go. Just disappeared for a second there. So Boise State's still scared of that in the mid lane. They're not going to let him play it at all.
Did it hurt you to see Diana up on the board? I know how much you adored that champion. So I'm sorry for you there.
You know, it's okay just because it's Boise State taking it away. I don't want to see. I'm not like you. Just because Rammus is in the game doesn't mean I'm donning the hat. If it's not on the Boise State side, I don't want to see it. As the Echo and the Mordekaiser banned away and the Thresh pickup. So Boise State playing some mind games with that Karma, saying, "Oh, it's Karma support. Hey, JK, Dean's on Thresh."
Psych. Yeah, and that's going to be very, very scary there. A mid lane Soraka, or not Soraka, I'm sorry. Wow, why can't I remember her name right now? Drawing a blank. Doesn't matter. Kiana in the mid lane. Karma, thank you. Karma into a Kiana is a not so favorable lane as far as mid is concerned, so we'll see how that all unfolds. As again, Kiana more of the assassin type to just absolutely destroy somebody. Karma does need to respect that lane or things go from bad to worse. And I love this pick. I didn't know it was in his wheelhouse, and he absolutely was rock solid here yesterday. Red hot on the Malphite more than likely.
Yeah, and now we see there's the Camille that Boise State had been so in fear of, the last pick for Michigan State, so that will be a Karthus jungle that we sort of talked around about, and now we have learned. So as you mentioned, throw some Skittles around, hit R, but a very, very slow clear. Maybe see if Aqua can capitalize on that, go into the jungle, because he is going to be just a little bit squishier than you might be used to on a, especially going from Rammus to Karthus. That is like going from a concrete boulder to a piece of paper in terms of survivability on your first early clear.
Yeah, from a tank to a Segway kind of a situation. But very, very much into both of these teams. Again, as far as Boise State is concerned, looks like they're going for a little bit of a later game, using the Graves to propel themselves into that situation. You look over the side of the Spartans, they're able to do relatively the same thing. They need this Karthus to, so basically we're looking at a 45-minute game, Fish. Buckle up. It's going to take a little while, because Karthus needs to build up, your Ezreal needs to burn his tier until it's something, you know, of value, and then of course your Camille can get there early, as well as Kiana. So we'll see. Again, this could be different. It could be the Kiana in the jungle with the Karthus in the mid lane instead. So that could be another situation. Either way, I have a feeling we are in it for a good one. So grab your popcorn, friends.
Yeah, I was surprised that nobody wanted to pick Lilia. She was picked in the first 2 games. Aqua played it very well, and maybe throw it in on the top lane as the last pick, but maybe Sunlight not enjoying that after that game he just had. As we do see Red Hot's there on screen, he is in the arena playing that Malphite, who he played yesterday in Boise State's win over Dixie State. So we'll see if he has that same mojo. And then Goblin just off camera up on stage as well, as we start to get the players back into the arena. So as we said, game 3 coming up for Boise State and Michigan State. There it is. We talked about it a little earlier. That is some of the original blue turf that the players sort of sit on, maybe half stand on with those chairs up there. So bringing them some of that Bronco mojo that has brought Boise State tons of high-profile wins in the past. We'll see if Boise State can use that to their Game 3 advantage here to pick up their first win in the UCI Best Coast Invitational.
It's coming. I feel it. I need those Twitch chat icons to start coming out fierce. You need to show your support for either one of these teams, because they have both shown that they can absolutely do what it takes to pick up Game 3.
I'm going to be curious to see how that goes, and I think a lot of these plays in Game 3 could be around the bot lane, and of course we know the man who makes a lot of those happen is Dean, and on that Blitzcrank, he was phenomenal. As we take a look at some of the replays with him just creating kill after kill for Boise State.
Yeah, absolutely. And here you see the engage follow-up there from the Kazakhs. It's definitely just Boise State's game from minute 1. We were seeing blind hooks. I mean, I'm a support player. I wish I could do 90% of what Dean was doing in this game, especially right here. Is able to set up something pretty beautiful for the side of Boise State over that blue side wall, leading to this situation here. Yanks under the tower. Just absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, the Blitzcrank pick, I think that is really what sort of baited out the Ezreal. Was what's an AD carry that can survive Dean's hook? Well, Ezreal's the only one, and they kind of baited that out by Boise State, so I love that play of sort of the mind games of, hey, we'll leave Blitzcrank up, you can pick Ezreal, and then Dean says, hey, death sentence. You played Thresh last game. Let me show you how it's done.
He's mine now. But yeah, I really like the way that the champion pools have worked in both of these games. A little anything you can do, as I mentioned before. And the early game has been the biggest point from literal minute 1. The teams have been more than okay smacking each other around for our enjoyment on some of the trends.
I'll be curious to see what happens. Of course, we know Game 1, huge fight broke out. Game 2, even with the Blitzcrank and the Thresh, nobody wanted to do much of anything. Karthus jungle, I'll be curious to see if Boise State wants to try and go in and punish that. But yeah, I want to really curious to see how level 1 works out, because with Thresh, you do still have some of that CC capability. Sometimes you do start the flay, though, just to be able to draw people back in, get that big auto attack as well. But it is Game 3 between Boise State and Michigan State here in the UCI Best Coast Tournament, going down to the wire. The Broncos looking to get their first win of the tournament, currently sitting at 0-4. Michigan State at 1-3, so a Bronco win would tie these teams at 1-4 as we enter the second half of the tournament. As we mentioned, a couple players on the blue turf up on the stage, Red Hot and Goblins, trying to bring some of that Game 3 mojo to the Broncos, who avoided a sweep with a Game 2 win. As you can see, full focus there, Chizu, trying to make sure Boise State brings home their first W of this tournament.
And again, I want to know what the surrender vote was for, if it was just simply we're done with this game, GG next, or if there were some other things on the other side that could perhaps, I don't know, lead into game number 3.
See a little bit about our opponent there, Michigan State, not yet having a formal esports team for any game, but the esports scene at Michigan State still lively. Haley Phillips, the director of the Esports Association at MSU, is optimistic about the Spartans' future, and I'm sure a win here against Boise State to move to 2-4 and have a chance to get back to 500 would go a long way. As you do see the standings here for our side of the bracket in this tournament, Texas, Bethany Lutheran, Stony Brook, and Western University all sitting at 3-1 or better, and then Michigan State, Boise State, and Illinois sitting in the bottom half here. Boise State trying to pick up a win, tie Michigan State at 1-4. Of course, Boise State already playing a lot of those teams at the top: Texas, Western University, Stony Brook. So maybe the tough days behind Boise State, they can pick up a couple of wins here and maybe get back to that 3-4 record and maybe sneak into the playoffs, depending on how everything falls out.
Hey, fire up your Florence and the Machine or whatever band was talking about Dark Days being over, because that very much could be the case. Moving on here. Again, Boise State just has to finish strong, which is something we did not see necessarily in the first game. They threw a pretty sizable lead. Game number 2, they bounce on back and absolutely steamroll. So it could be good news for the side of the Boise State Broncos, but you never know.
Well, as we go into game 3, of course, we're going to need Doc's keys to the game, get some good mid-jungle synergy going on there, play for those objectives, get that value over time, and never take a fair fight. It's all brought to you by Count, who helps deliver real-time fraud prevention, account protection, and enables personalized customer experiences for more than 9,000 leading brands. You're going to be at home a lot more. Maybe you like shopping online for your groceries. If you're worried about fraud, easy payments, safe logins, or chargebacks, check out Count.com. They analyze 32 billion annual transactions to personalize your experience. So go check them out. You can probably count on Count. That's KOUNT.com. I don't think Boise State's going to use any count today, but they would love to count up those victories in the win column.
Yeah, absolutely, because, that win column currently says 0. So they'd love to count one of those, at least at some point in time, I'm sure.
Hey, and make sure we talked about, what was that surrender vote about? Got to get count to make sure no one's hacking your League of Legends count mid-game. That could be something as well.
There you go.
Yeah, you don't want to have that happen, especially in a game 3 as we do load in. And the first thing that catches my eye, Chizu, that's Ignite Smite on Aqua in the jungle. So that's going to be a Graves who he can go over the wall with the quick draw, but he can be caught out if they can CC him down because there's no flash.
That is ridiculous. Sorry, I have to throw this factoid out because I do watch the Twitch chat, so I know when you guys don't like me. That Hi from C9 is actually from MSU, so that's a super neato little factoid. Dropped out to join Quantum C9. Thank you so much, random person with random facts. That's super neat.
Hey, League of Legends random facts are always a ton of fun. As we do set up here, both teams with the stalemate, the back from the mouth fight, we could have something crazy going down, but there are 5 Spartans and 4 Broncos.
It might be a 4-on-4 here as both teams just, waiting it out. Just trying to figure it out. Again, the 55-second is where I typically would start my aggression. They could just be waiting. Again, this is the route that the Spartans took to set up the counter gank in game number 2, if I'm not mistaken, game number 1. And so I think Boise State is just poised here and just waiting. You see the pings out. Just kidding, Adam. They say they are going in strong as they move on in. A late invade here. Boise State looking for something. They are going to get a monster Q. They are going to get a fresh hook, and that is going to force a myriad of flashes. First blood over to Boise State. It ends up on none other than Aqua. No flash needed. Mows down the jungler Argentin Sky, and Boise State finds themselves a victory in the first minute and a half.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to see why you bring Ignite over Flash, it's right there. Secures the kill with the Ignite. Argentum Sky actually flashed to safety from the Death Sentence and allowed Death Sentence, maybe a pun intended there, to get hooked in by it. So a little bit of a funny, hey, I'm going to flash away. Oh, sorry, you weren't fast enough. You're dead. So hate when that happens. Hopefully the voice comes from Michigan State. If you talked about you just surrendered, maybe a little salt in the wound, but that first blood for Boise State, pretty huge.
Oh, absolutely massive. Again, it sets back the jungle, who's already a slow jungle to begin with. Graves now has agency over the lane presence. Kiana looks like to be invading here on the mid lane side, as well as the Karthus. So it looks like there's some aggression here on the blue end. Boise State, though, was quick on the draw. It appears they might be able to do something, but a nice death sentence here on the Ezreal is going to be able, or allow for damage to be pumped out here. Boise State is going to find this blue buff as well as the rest of the crew, but damage is coming down. Aqua is able to find Argentum Sky. The damage is coming out post-mortem here, but it looks like Boise State keeps taking those cues to the face, and it looks like instead Ascent with the autos, with the damage. Kiana on his back is going to be able to auto down. Is the Kiana going to find themselves a double kill here? No, is forced to get out of here, but Boise State is going to continue to put on pressure. The shield is coming out, a 2v1, lots of damage coming out. Red Hot's almost down, forces the flash from Kiana, and that is that. Boise State coming out with the advantage.
Boise State going to get 4 summoner spells in the process. Make that 5 if you want to count the fact that Sunlight now has to teleport back in, as he has blood on his mind right now.
Oh, he's gonna find one, as it looks like Red Hot is his target, but Aqua is here. No flash needed. Gives him the old buckshot to the face and finds another there. Thanks for the teleport.
Yeah, I was like, okay, he's going to teleport back to lane. No, he was full send on the teleport to try and get back in that fight for the double kill, get the prediction. Boise State wins early, but it's still close. Boise State already building a near 1K gold lead off of that crazy fight, and when your Karthus jungle gets so far behind, 3 members have to go help him take the enemy blue, and you lose, you're in for a rough game, Argentum Sky. Good luck.
Are they going to forfeit this one at 20 as well because they're behind in the early game? Or, like, again, I just don't even know what to expect anymore because Boise State has turned on the turbo thrusters and are just doing everything and then some. Throwing the kitchen sink, maybe a bathtub, a smoke grenade also helps, as it looks like Aqua trying to get out of here is going to be given a lantern, and Boise State was able to fight under 2 turrets and still come out the victors in the pressure game, if you will.
And Boise State going full send here in Game 3, a 2-tower dive at 4 minutes. Not something that usually ever works out, but the amount of shielding that Boise State has from Karma and from the Thresh doing a great job keeping Aqua alive. And in a familiar role, already has a bounty on his head, 3-1-1 on the Graves, and I don't think Argentum Sky is going to be very happy if Aqua chooses to invade, because that is probably going to be a dead Karthus.
Again, this is all Boise State early game, but I have a feeling Michigan State will have some kind of turn here at around the 10 to 15 minute mark once we finally hit that, as they start to scale, start to get their finished items, and that could lead to a really solid late game push. Again, like I said, a lot of their champions are late game, including their jungler who shows up here. Red Hots is kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place and falls apart right there. That one going to end up going over to the Camille.
And that is going to also be a Dark Harvest stack for Argentum Sky, so even when he gets an assist, it's still very valuable for him to start building up that potential damage he can do in the late game when he presses R. So Boise got to be careful for that one. We do see the Tear of the Goddess being picked up by Millicon, so much earlier than last game, going to be able to start stacking that tier up. Won't have the Sheen for damage, but still going to have that stack building up very, very quickly. So Boise State has to be careful, as you see, especially in the mid lane. That farm distance starting to grow a little bit. My Sweet 77 up to 41%, just sitting at 28. But he is on the Karma, so you're not expecting too much from him in terms of raw damage.
Well, like I said, he's going to get bullied in the early part of the game, especially against the Assassin. It's just one of those Mage v Assassin situations. You either can push them out of lane or they push you into lane. I realize that's kind of redundant, but looks like Dean's setting up for something crafty here. He knows that they don't have any vision in this bottom side. He's not going to be able to bait out anything as Goblin continues to push here. Thresh picking up his souls as Boise State will reset here. It looks like instead they are going to eyeball this Drake. Graves going over the wall here. And the rest of the Boise State bot lane is there to help him out as well.
There should be a free Cloud Drake for Boise State here. No vision, no contest. Is Michigan State trying to farm under tower, catch back up on the bot lane CS. So Boise State going to love that. They won't have the full 20, 30, or even 40% in the Cloud Soul, but even 10% on the Malphite ult can mean one more fight is going to be up instead of him stalling and stalling. So Boise State will take that every time.
Hook shot into the wall, and an exchange of damage goes in favor of the Spartans there on the top side. And look at this, it appears that Argentum Sky is going to be able to get their first blue buff of the game, as Boise State took that, second for that matter. And it's kind of the situation. If you're a Karthus, you want that blue buff so bad. You need it to basically function as a champion. So Curious to where he'll set up. At level 6, this game is going to explode wide open, though, and I guarantee it. There's my hashtag prediction, chat.
And it's kind of funny how much help our Jensen Sky has needed. The Bard having to rotate up to the blue buff to protect him from a potential Aqua invade. So they're very, very scared of that. They are basically babysitting that jungler right now. But as you mentioned, once he gets hit 6, his global presence is unlocked. This game's going to blow wide open, especially in the first team fight. But right now, you see in the CS, right now in the bot lane is where Goblin just dominated Millicon there. So I'd like to see, maybe as you talked about, takes a while for Sivir to get online. But when you're up almost 20 CS, that's going to make that process just a bit quicker.
That's exactly what I was alluding to, is that, yeah, she does need a handful of items to really become, like, Super Sivir, if you will. It's like Super Sonic, but different. Right here in the mid lane, looks like Kiana is going to drop here onto the Karma. The tether is down, but is not able to maintain connection and will break there. But, yeah, again, once the Sivir starts going, things are going to get hot here. Smoke Grenade is going to come down, and it looks like Karth is going to show up as well, as Aqua just absolutely deletes him. Didn't even have to auto-attack him. Here comes the R. The teleport coming through as well. Not enough to kill, but the follow-up, actually True Shot Barrage into the teleport. That was actually pretty slick. Ascent is going to find Sunlight. Kiana jumping in here, but it's a 3v1. The ultimate is great there. My Sweet 77 is going to pick up one, but the other two going to find themselves able to escape pretty easy.
Yeah, and you know who benefits from that the most in that fight? Goblin. He is just sitting down there. He is free farming right now. He might even get a plate. That's a full 160 gold. So even though that wasn't even trade for a Boise State team that had a gold lead, Goblin's about to just blow that bot lane wide open. He doesn't have a teleport. Ezreal might be able to pick up a mana mine with that kill, but Goblin's going to be content. One plate potentially, a ton of farm. He's going to be online a lot quicker than I think Michigan State's going to be ready for.
There's actually another piece of this I had not considered from the Boise State side, is simply all of the movement. From the Mantra Shield on the Karma to the ultimate from Sivir. Graves can really just slide around, slow other people down, but to get the Malphite into the team fight, whether it's via the Lantern or any other method, is going to be super cannonball-y for the side of Boise State University. And right now, the Spartans have to find, well, just about anything. Again, they are just hoping they can make it to the final points of this game and then turn the tide.
Yeah, the plate being stopped there as Sunlight got dragged down into the bot lane without a teleport, so he's going to have to walk all the way back up to that top side as Ezreal finally gets back in. So some extreme lane shifts going on there from the Spartans to prevent any plate being picked, as Ascent's going to get hit out there by Death Sentence.
And yeah, it looks like the hook shot's gonna be good. Just the CC chain shut down there on the mid laner, and the Kiana is gonna get even scarier. He's not finished their item yet, but will have a full lethality there. Looks like Dean is going to be caught out as well. A nice play from the hook shot, flashes to the blast cone, and he gets himself out of there. Boise State was able to pick up the Rift Herald, but a nice jump in there from the Kiana means that Aqua has to be really careful. Death Sentence not going to land, but Death Sentence going to pick up the kill, as it looks like Malphite is going to be all by his lonesome. 1v4 blast cone is going to happen, is not able to get himself out. So a great rotation there. Michigan State University does exactly what I was telling them to do and finds a way in.
Yeah, great job by Michigan State, all starting with Death Sentence in the mid lane there. The Stasising Ascent allowing his teammates to collapse. Now one play going to be picked up there by Goblin. He's not quite able to get the second one, but he has just been saying, hey, you know what, guys, I'll join you in about 10 minutes when I'm farming here. He's at 96, well ahead of everyone else pacing the game right now. So he's going to be more than happy at this near, almost probably near 9.5 CS per minute as Dean's going to start a fight.
And yeah, he's gonna find a hook and immediately just destroyed there. Kiana goes bye-bye, and Aqua finds yet another one here. As, again, you mentioned Goblin just getting so far ahead in that bottom side. Boise State has stabilized the kills. The gold is virtually the same, and we are on an even playing field here at this point.
Yeah, Goblin just, he has gotten a couple of plates. He doesn't want to back. They force back away from Death Sentence. Ezreal still hanging out there. Millicon got to be very, very careful. Dean trying to find a way over. He's got a Grave standing there as well. His tribe, which is warded. So Boise State going to contently say, all right, let's pick up the Ocean Dragon here and move ourselves that much closer to whatever the soul point is. But he's being collapsed on by a couple of members. At least Death Sentence poking his head around, but nothing too shabby.
Yeah, and again, they saw that there because of the scuttle, but able to get out. He could have just jumped the wall if he wanted to. But he also wanted that Drake. Mountain will be our soul this time around, giving everybody some extra shield.
Yeah, Boise State would love that as well. Sort of prevents the Karthus Requiem to initiate. It's not going to be there for when he uses it after his death, but it does prevent the initiate as Aqua supposed to initiate on the mid laner there. Doesn't see if he's going to find anything.
Yeah, again, not enough to, warrant any more vision down there as we look at the top side where everybody's just bopping each other around. Boise State trying to make some moves, get some vision where they can. Fight possibly, like you said, on the Riverside bot could have unfolded, but instead, like I said, everyone is trying to get everything set up for this next fight. But instead, jumping on over, finding the Kiana once again is Aqua, and is also going to follow through on the magical journey, as well as it looks like the mid laner here, Ascent's going to be moving forward. Dean is there just in case someone needs a friendly lantern to get out extra.
That pick onto the Kiana is going to set up a couple of things. One, is going to mean plates for Boise State uncontested. Two, Goblins now in the bot lane uncontested. The True Shot Barrage going to put some poke damage on, but there's a pair of plates for Boise State. And the Rift Herald 3 is going to potentially mean first tower, as Argentine Sky might have something in mind, but I don't think he's going to match.
I don't know what happened to the Boise State overall game in the last handful of days, but it is beautiful as they are finding not only amazing fights, but amazing objectives, and doing them in fairly sneaky ways. Great rotations, great timings. I have great feelings here for Boise State. That's great.
Well, Boise State, the one thing that probably wasn't great is Shelly not picking up that first tower. Still well ahead of any tower for the side of Michigan State, but a full dive here on Red Hots.
Oh, Red Hots is actually going to use the ultimate flash out and run into the open arms of his team, possibly even grab the lantern there, as it looks like a teleport was expended from Ascent. But they are going to find out Bard. Nice try, guy. You go bye-bye as Aqua finds yet another. I'm almost getting tired of saying that phrase, but he is all over the place. And then some great answer there from Boise State. Great start from Red Hots.
See Goblin dueling Millicon here in the bot lane. The level advantage on the Ezreal side, but Goblin putting out a ton of damage. Everyone's going to disengage. Curious how Ezreal has the level advantage down in CS. He does have the one kill, but wouldn't have thought it made that much of a difference. Must just be sort of siphoning off some other lanes there, because I would have thought Goblin would have been the XP leader in this game with how much he's been solo far.
I just don't ask questions anymore. Great stun there. Lantern to follow, looking for the death sentence, not going to find it. All they have to do is hit the tower a couple times, it'll fall, but instead Aqua is going to be caught out and deleted there. It was Boise State's move. Instead, Aqua gets caught out.
Yeah, shut down on to Karthus. The last thing you want to see, going to help him get some Dark Seal stack, work his way back into the game, his first kill. So Boise State got to be wary of making sure they don't hand too many shutdowns over to that Karthus, because that's just going to make that Requiem hit even harder. Sunlight finds Red Hots at his own blue buff.
Top laner is going to be fighting over a blue that not either one of them particularly need. The flash out from Goblin. He's feeling himself. What would technically be a solo kill despite his laner being there. And it looks like another fight here in the jungle. Ascent with a beautiful flash out is still going to be dropped on. And Red Hots falls to Argentum Sky. So a 2-for-0 exchange. That's going to allow them to push up towards this rift if they wish to do so. And instead they're going to take this blue and go from there.
Goblin should be able to secure first turret. As Aqua might find somebody out. We'll see if he wants to chase in, and so far he has a plan too.
Oh, I thought that was definitely a kill, but they're going to get the tower on the bottom side, and they're not going to be able to collapse on this major objective. So great response there from Aqua to allow them to recover from what happened in their own jungle.
Yeah, I'm really on board with Goblin's split push, but he might be caught out here by Millicon.
Ooh, ultimate burn, little piece to the face, red turret's gonna go down, the rest of Boise State going to respond. That scares out the Ezreal. I thought for sure that was the dead Goblin.
Yeah, baiting out the teleport from Millicon to get the movement speed to what he thought would chase down Goblin, not ending up working out there. So you see Goblin right now, 154 CS, flirting with that 10 CS a minute mark. That really just means you are on top of your game. So I love what Goblin's doing. Of course, he can't just farm all game. He's going to have to get into team fights. But if there's a champion you want flirting with 10 CS a minute, it's Sivir, because she's going to, as we talked about, get to that power spike a lot quicker and be able to maybe end this game earlier than we had expected. You were predicting, what, 45 minutes, Chizu?
Yeah, well, I didn't expect this game to be this explosive, to be completely honest. It was more of a facetious 45 minutes, because games don't really go that long anymore. But I just meant that we're waiting for a later part of this game, but Boise State, again, pedal to the metal, has just done everything that they can and then some to really steamroll this game. And look at Red Hots from the top side as the rest of Boise State is here to pump out as much damage as they can. Camille is able to push away Aqua, but it looks like Boise State back on the re-engage. Health bars oh so low, and by the way, post Mortem Arthas is doing some work here. They're going to take a magical journey. This Bard is not long for this world. Goblin is going to be gifted that one, and it looks like he is not done hunting down the opposing ADC. Boise State will be put at soul point here. Great fight. Good night, Spartans, as it looks like BSU is on track to win this game.
There, you want to ask why Aqua brings Ignite? It's right there. You thought that Argentine Sky had gotten out of the fight, but the only Ignite on the Boise State side ticking down. Aqua picks up that kill, but MySpeed77 contesting the dragon. He said, hey, how do you want 300 gold? Let me hand it to you while you get that dragon.
Nice contest. Thanks for the extra gold. I'll be taking my dragon. As Aqua just moseys his way on out of there oh so smoothly. So Boise State looking real good. Got a handful of dragons in their hands and have looked fairly good throughout the course of this game as well. A couple of worrisome kind of situations, but they have worked it out just fine, as it looks like Red Hot's here trying to make sure this Camille cannot get this tower. The rest of the state is here, at least waiting in the wings. Dean is here to make sure she's not getting away. Requiem is going to come out. Hextech Ultimatum is there as well. A great shot there from Ezreal is going to pump out some damage, but no kills to be had for the Spartans. Meaning we now have a race towards this second tower. Health bars unbelievably low. In comes the Whimsical Journey, the ultimate from Bard, as well as the Karma to show up, lock them down, still not losing a single member. Boise State continues the fight.
Huge shield by Ascent there to keep Aqua alive. There were 2 or 3 times where Aqua probably should have gone down. There was some block skill shots by Boise State. Karma running in as fast as she can to get that shield. And oh, by the way, Goblin with the split push Sivir gonna take down that second turret. We'll see if he can make it away.
I was gonna say you can't. Oh my goodness, where did Red Hots come from? What in the world?
Teleport.
DJ, bring that back. What in the world? Where did he? It's like on the playground where you got hit by that rock by the bully who just like threw it out of nowhere. Whack! With the kill, a little aggression here on the mid lane. I gotta take a breather. You gotta be kidding me. That was red.
This team is firing on all cylinders. The teleport in from Red Hot off screen saying, hey Goblin, I know you're playing split push 80 carry, but I got you. And now Argentum Sky thinks he's got a red buff. Aqua and Dean, they'll have other ideas. Looks like they'll just push him off, steal that for themselves.
Yeah, okay. So what I was initially going to say is you can farm all game. It's called split pushing, like you were bringing up. And it looks like to be basically the mantra of our boy Goblin here. As it looks like, once again, Argentum Sky is going to be found out. The ult may not be enough. Red is there. It's not going to burn. And it looks like the Hextech Ultimatum is going to come out. You have to actually auto-attack the champion, as Ascent is going to flash over into Millicon. That's exactly what I was talking about. And now Red Hots is trying to just get this final one. He's going to flash over. He found himself in Ezreal as well, but nobody else is there to help him. But at least he goes down fighting. Top side, meanwhile, it looks like Aqua and Dean are going to pick up that top tower. They just need to be careful now. They're about to be collapsed on.
And here comes Death Sentence from the back. Here comes Ezreal and Crisis in the front, but a nice Death Sentence onto the name. But it's going to be a 3-man stasis to start this off.
I mean, I guess that works. Damage is going to come out. Good stun there from the Kiana, though. The fight is going to continue. Death Sentence is going to land, but down goes the Graves. And now it looks like Dean is running for his life, but gets hit by the Mystic Shot. And now comes the Karma. Flash is expended. The home guard advantage here. Hits him with the Q. Mosey's on out. I don't believe... Oh, well, looks like Tiana wants to party as well. In jumps Camille. Are we watching, like, a game? What is going on here? It just feels like a 1v1v1v1v1 in the top lane.
This feels like it's a team deathmatch, and we're just racing towards a kill mark right now because nobody wants to disengage except Goblin, who now he sees his opportunity onto Argentum Sky and flashes in pizza to the dome. Hope you like pepperoni, my friend, because he is down.
So we're not going to team fight for the rest of the game. We're just going to have 1v1s in any given lane. You know, expend all of your summoners, your teleports, your flashes. You don't need them. Come on now. But yeah, seriously, absolutely disgusting this time around. As I would like to see some more organized play, but again, you're finding picks, you're making moves. You do you, boo-boo.
Well, if you want that, Cheese, you just work on a cloning device and just clone 10 goblins, because that's... I mean, he got a kill there, but he's still at 10 CS a minute, so he'll definitely turn you into a farming game if you ever need the game there. Just make 10 of him, because he is content just saying, I'm just going to push towers as Sivir, and like, if you want to come fight, I'll just two-shot you. Like, take your pick, I guess.
Right, dude. At this point, Boise State is just stampeding through the opposing team, and they show no signs of slowing down, and they could find themselves a soul here in the very near future as well. Stun is going to land, but you don't see him take any damage. Shields come up to get the extra movement speed. That scuttle is ours as they are looking to set themselves up. You see Kiana kind of there on the flank. Meanwhile, Goblin all the way on the bottom side, still making sure everything's good down there. Could find himself walking headfirst into a group of people if he is not careful.
Yeah, he's got to be careful he doesn't end up walking into an ambush. Boise State, they're going to start that one as a hook land.
The death sentence is going to land. That Karthus is just looking for a good position to die in. The Arcane Barrage comes through. Aqua gonna delete him after the fact. And it looks like here comes the Kiana going to find themselves. Two will be the Spartans. And it looks like Ascent is trying to get out. Hextech Ultimatum is going to come through. A hook is going to find the Kiana. And it looks like it's the Goblin and Dean show. This bot lane that was left oh so alone has joined the fight and is looking to do just that as they are pushing every Spartan out of the lane, just the two of them.
Yeah, Goblin doing a great job coming in as the cleanup crew. If he had maybe gotten there a bit quicker, Boise State maybe could have gotten the ace, but you still like to see him coming in from the back line all alone on an AD carry, not something you usually see, saying, hey guys, how's it going? Let me take you all down and set us up for some soul point here as he's going to steal that blue buff. And surprised Boise State didn't want to rush down this dragon because you have Goblin, and it's a low health Camille and a Bard that he's trying to contest against. But right now, they're doing a great job bleeding out those death timers, allowing a reset here from both sides.
Yeah, absolutely. Both teams doing a fairly good job there. Again, this Bard is still in not like a good spot. Dean is going to rotate, but the rest of the team is here, and he could be found out. It's going to get slowed up a little bit. Arcane Barrage, Mystic Shot is going to hit, and it looks like he's just going to walk away. They are putting that over to Millie Khan. So unfortunately, not going to have your support here, but we'll still have the jungler just in case. As the jungler jumps the wall, this is a 4v2 Boise State is looking for here. Kiana jumps on in, quite a bit of damage. Here comes the Requiem from the Karthus. The question is how much damage is going to be done as Millicon finds yet another one there. Boise State respawns, walks back in. They're now looking at gray screens because they felt the need to fight in a try in the opposing jungle. But here comes Goblin as well as Ascent. The ultimate is burnt. In jumps the Kiana. Goblin is going to get one, but walks right in again. Ezreal going to find another one. Drake going over to Michigan State.
Soul point being avoided there. The ace and the 1,000 gold shutdown handed over to Millicon. So that is going to be an Ezreal who you do not want to mess with, though, going for the Iceborne Gauntlet to be able to kite just a little bit better. So yeah, Boise State, got to be a little bit careful there. Don't get ahead of yourself, as you mentioned. Respawn diving right into a 2v4 on the enemy jungle. Didn't like how it turned out, but Boise State, I still have to say you like their position. Gold lead still around 4K, maybe 3.5, and Boise State still slightly ahead, especially in the turrets, 5-1. So the Broncos still feeling comfortable.
Sure, comfortable being a word that is going to get you into a lot of trouble, as we saw. So this was kind of what I was worried about as we get later and later into this game. And yep, Dean going to grab it, and they're going to get a teleport. Flame, everything is good here. Karthus looking to maybe get a kill here. Shield coming out all over the place. Camille going to find one. And there it is, a 3-man ultimate from the Spartans. And now a fight breaks out here in the jungle. Aqua is going to find the Kiana. And now the question is, who's getting out? Looks like Red Hots will be the first to do so. And Ascent is going to take the Mystic Shot to the face. Does have the shielding, but is going to get hit. Once again, great targeting there from the side of Michigan State. And that could mean a Baron attempt? That'd be very, very strange. Okay, never mind. It looks like instead Goblin and crew going to be jumping into this one. Goblin is going to be dropped on with the Hextech Ultimatum and now left all by his lonesome. Red Hots just says, dude, you got to do this yourself. Is not going to happen. And it looks like he is going to fall. Red Hots could be the next in line if he does not get out of it.
Yeah, Boise State, unfortunately, losing a little bit of their way there as the Red Hots trying to avoid the delayed back-to-back aces. He will go down. Millicon now on an incredible rampage. Boise State getting a little bit too trigger-happy on these objectives here, pulling too many fights, but we'll see if they can do anything here on the Baron. But yeah, that definitely kind of got the Spartans right back in the game, even giving them the kill lead. Goal lead still on the Broncos side, but that's because all of their turrets are still alive except for one. So as soon as those fall, gold going to start shifting into the Spartans.
It was a great pick to start with. It was everything that came after that was kind of the question mark thing in my mind as Boise State looking for a pick here, and they may in fact have it. This Ezreal is going to shift out. The play is good. The hook is down, and that is a serious amount of damage coming out. Requiem is going to be there as well, but the rest of the Spartans are going to watch as their AD carry gets taken out. a nice mantra Q there as well to stave off any further investigation. Teleport coming in from above this red buff as Bard is going to be found by Red Hots here again, teleporting into the exact same spot. No one is there to help him. That sentence is going to land. Another massive stun from this Bard as Argentum Sky is going to find another kill. Am I taking crazy pills? Is this deja vu? This is exactly what happened, and it could be a very dangerous situation, but it looks like instead Boise State will find yet another kill, and suddenly this fight looks a little bit more even, as it looks like Aqua here, jumping headfirst into 2, will be able to pump out the damage he's looking for. Camille in the wings is going to hook shot over. Looks like a flash there is going to be expended from Goblin here, and now more damage being put out. What a crit! Goblin is going to find that first kill. Now has to get away from this Karthus, and eventually they will stop fighting for absolutely nothing.
And I was literally in the process of saying Boise State just needs to wait for Goblin to get to the fight before they all in, and then you saw the teleport being channeled by Red Hot's Goblin, though able to make it in time to at least turn it into a 2v3 for Boise State and pick up a small advantage. But yeah, they've got to start waiting for Goblin to get those fights. That's 2 in a row where he's their most fed member. He's 8-2-2. I guess you could say Aqua's 15-8, but all of that CS
Sure.
on Sivir, all of those items, let the man get into the fight for once, please.
Yeah, and you also have to pay attention that, Ezreal's got all of his items up and good to go. So this game is starting to hit that late game point that I was talking about, and the Spartans are showing exactly what I feared if I was on the Boise State side, is that this late game is starting to work out. And Boise's making some questionable plays. I would love to see what happens when they actually fight as a 5-man group. It would be a wild experience.
Yeah, and I think if Boise State can get a 5v5 fight, they're going to love the results and potentially love what happens afterwards. You see that dragon castle spawning. That means something crazy is about to happen.
There it is. They were looking for a pick, not quite able to find it. They were feeling so good about it. You hear a couple of things bird there as well. Boise State going to reset this one. And look at that, all 5 members here, because this next Drake will be massive. And they're going to have to find a way to get a hold of that if you are the side of Michigan State.
Yeah, Boise State got to find some protection on the Goblin. He's the back line. Aqua's going to love to dive in on the front line there with that Ignite landed onto somebody when it does come off cooldown. But right now, Boise State's got a decision to make. Do you fight over the Dragon? Do you burn it down, or do you disengage? We'll see what they want to do right now. True Shot Barrage might mean a fight started for Michigan State.
Yeah, True Shot Barrage is going to hit pretty solid, and those Qs are going great. And it looks like they did catch out that Karthus in a position he doesn't necessarily want, but here comes the team fight, and a shutdown coming through. They have found Goblin. Millicon is going to drop Red Hots here as the fight continues. Sunlight going to find one. Ascent is going to also get one. Aqua finds a kill, and it's a double at that. As far as death timers are concerned, a 3 for 3, and what a bloodbath at that.
Yeah, health bar is a little bit lower for Boise State. Of course, you do have the Karma shielding, but they have to be very, very careful. Surprised that Michigan State not choosing to burn down the Dragon, but we do see a teleport coming in. They've got to be very careful here.
Yeah, shift over the wall is going to get them out just fine, so an extended summoner spell there, but they are able to get back into the enemy jungle and continue to move around. They are looking for whatever they can. Wait, did they not take the Drake?
No, they full disengage.
Oh, I thought they took the Drake, so Boise State's totally stoked about this, hence the teleport that I was so confused about.
True Shot Barrage nearly stole that great smite by Aqua there, as we do see everyone starting to get color back into their screens from the dead members in Boise State. We got the 5v5, but I don't know if that's the result you wanted. It's a very close game. You see the kills tied, the gold slightly on the Boise State side, but they do have the Mountain Soul now. So I think Boise State going to be a little bit more confident, I should say, when they get engaged on by a True Shot Barrage. That Mountain Soul going to eat up a ton of that damage, allow them to be a lot more full life, because the redemption is kind of what saved them in that last fight.
Well, and the shield that they're going to get here just from having Soul is going to be so nice for every single person on the team. So Boise State really loving the Soul and loving the setup. They're even going to motion toward a Baron.
It is warded there for Michigan State. You can see that right now. No plans to sweep for Boise State. Dean trying to hold his off, and now here comes the question, burn or fight? And we'll see what Boise State wants to do as it drops below 3K.
Oh, massive ultimate there from Malphite over the Baron wall. Catches 3 of them. 1 is going to go down as they have pulled off of the Baron, but meanwhile from behind, it looks like a double kill going to come through from this Karthus. The fight continues. True Shot Barrage is going to land. Boise State has fallen there and will not be able to secure the Baron, let alone a handful of kills.
And unfortunately, when Malphite and Graves went over the wall, Ascent was just stuck there being beaten down by the Baron, and that's kind of where Boise State, they were split up, and I don't know if they liked how that played out. Now, the good news is for the Broncos, despite that Michigan State had a lot of towers in the way, so they might be able to get this mid inhibitor, but it's going to take all of their time. There's no chance for them to end the game, so at least Boise State didn't bleed too much, but they did bleed a gold lead. Now over to the Michigan State side, Super Minions pushing in the mid, and Boise State's disaster of the objectives has continued in the last few minutes.
Oh, I apparently was muted for those hacking up along there. I do apologize for that. My apologies. But yeah, just an unfortunate fight there. Goblin gets taken down super early, and that means pretty much that's it for the side of Boise State. Great flank from behind from the side of the Spartans to secure that during the fight. And we'll see what happens as we continue on.
Yeah, for Boise State, couple of things that I'm noticing in team fights. Burning a Karthus down, while it feels great, you can avoid the Skittles, kind of, because he does have the passive to bring himself back to life. They're basically just allowing Argentum Sky to free cast and not have to think about positioning. So I'd love to see the focus maybe shift towards Sunlight, maybe My Sweet 77, somebody besides the Karthus, because killing a Karthus isn't really killing a Karthus because he gets to just be in the fight for an additional 8 seconds, and I think that's maybe Boise State wasting a lot of abilities on a guy who basically has a built-in pseudo-GA.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I'm getting some kind of feedback. It looks like we are burning all of them here. The Mantra Shield, all of the ultimates, and it looks like we are going to get a Bard ult. Goblin is going to manage to stay alive. Here comes the Requiem. Milikon is going to be able to find that one. It looks like the Guardian Angel going to be burned on the side of the Spartans. As they continue to push this lane, Boise State looking for a fight. They're feeling pretty confident here as they continue on.
Maybe another pick being set up there. Dean going to scan that bush. No ward there. Death Sentence walking over into a Death Sentence. Going to land on My Sweet 77.
Yeah, and it looks like Boise State is going to love this. They're going to run down the rest of the Spartans. Shutdown picked up there. Death Sentence not going to land. They could get themselves a Baron if they wanted to. I think that will be after this minion push, or they will just rotate down onto the bottom side and continue to push out.
And no minions cooperating them within the mid lane because, of course, there are supers for Michigan State, so Boise State roaming down to what Goblin set up what feels like an eternity ago with his split push. This should be an easy bot inhibitor. We'll see, or bot inhibitor tower, I should say. Here comes the teleport to secure the bot inhibitor, but this could mean a fight's on as the flash Death Sentence is going to miss.
And this could be one of the final pushes for the side of Boise State University. All they have to do is stick to their guns. However, they need to be able to sniff out if a situation is going from bad to worse. However, a beautiful hook, a Death Sentence is great, and they will move forward. Camille going to hook shot in, slapped down by the Rock himself, but Argentum Sky has other plans. Not a whole lot of MR on the Boise State side. Goblin kept alive, finds a kill. This could be it for the side of Boise State. No, they are going to peel back. That could very well be a Baron.
I don't know what happened there, but Argentum Sky was in the middle of channeling the Requiem when he went down, so he didn't get that extra burst damage off in the fight, because of course if you die while it's being channeled, you don't get to just keep going. It does get interrupted, so that was a huge misplay by him, either not saving it, I don't know if he was trying to start a fight with it, but that being interrupted either by the death or the death sentence means that's a free Baron for Boise State, and that could be what turns the game, because usually the Karthus saves it for when he's dead, so that was a crazy play, but we'll see if a Baron steals on the works as wards come down all around.
Oh, they found the Kiana. I was going to say, watch out. If she jumps in, she's capable of doing a serious amount of damage. They are going to find the Baron. The ultimate coming out from Bard will lock everybody down. But Boise State has found what they came for. They have 2 inhibitors down and are looking to finish this game soon.
I can't help but chuckle because there is that sort of negative synergy between a Bard and a Karthus. Yes, Bard locked 3 of them down. He also made them invulnerable as the Requiem went out. So you have to be careful with that. You've got it. Michigan State has to make sure they communicate, hey, Requiem's coming down, don't Bard ult there. So yeah, very, very curious play. As now with the other Dragon coming up very shortly, those 2 ults going to be a cooldown. It's a huge boon for Boise State.
Oh my gosh, and Boise State is just massive. You have Drake, you have Baron, you have just about everything and then some. even have the inhibitor lead if you really want to get that deep into it. The ultimate burn there. Ezreal going to be forced over the wall, but the Graves is okay going over as well. What a great ultimate there from Red Hot. That should be that for this game. Boise State on the precipice of picking up their first win here in the Best Coast tournament, and it is a massive one against Michigan State University. I won't get ahead of myself quite yet, but when you've got 4 gray screens, a full team, you know exactly what that means. It's GGWP, and Boise State should be walking away with the dub.
Great job by Boise State to stabilize through a couple of bad fights. Sunlight trying to do what he can. It's not going to matter. The ace of emotes come out, the teleports come out, and Boise State securing their first victory here in the Best Coast tournament. A come-from-behind reverse sweep in a 3-game series. The Broncos winning games 2 and game 3. Goblin there in the arena can relish in his victory. Red Hot's over there as well. There's the thumbs up, and of course it feels good to get that 0 out of a column. Boise State moving to 1-4, tying the Spartans at 1-4 as well. So Boise State back-to-back wins in League of Legends. Chizu, and we were dang close to a 45-minute game there. That was a very, very long slogfest. You might have been right in your pseudo prediction, not a prediction.
It was like a pseudo, like it could very well happen. And as we mentioned, you know, Rob Goblin just got everything he needed. He was left alone. You can't leave this man alone, because then when it hits the 40-minute mark, he's smacking you in the face with pizzas with anchovies, and nobody likes anchovies. So just a great setup. Boise State keeping the PMA, positive mental attitude, as I always bring up. And again, I guess that surrender in game number 2 really didn't mess with the mental attitude, but maybe gave Boise State a little bit of a hyperbolic time chamber effect. So really loving today's series on both sides. You know, good luck to Michigan in the future, but Boise State earned that one today.
And Boise State doing a fantastic job picking up that victory there. And of course, with the victory out of the way comes all of the post-game accolades, Chizu, and that means with the Idaho Central Credit Union Player of the Game coming up, it's not a tough decision on our hands. A 3-game series means a lot of players playing very, very well. I like to make you pick first so I have an idea of where to go. So who does your slot?
This isn't fair. I can't do this today. I'm going to have to go with, I'm just going to go with Red Hots. I did him dirty yesterday. I really did. I really feel terrible. He even played the champion that I wanted, so this is a little bit of a back. Again, I don't know. I would have to throw towards Aqua if I had to go the numbers-wise, just because he was everywhere and then some. Bought himself a 25 stack and still was able to get it. I'm sure they lost that game, but an impressive feat nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. I think you said it's kind of hard to pick out. I mean, you could give Dean a shout-out for that huge Blitzcrank game. You could, of course, give Aqua a shout-out as well. I thought Ascent played very well. Red Hot's, of course, doing his thing up on that island. But I've got to say, when you win Game 3 and you can kind of win it because your AD carry got left alone until he could slap people with pepperonis, I've got to go with Goblin, coming in clutch when he needed it the most. Great play on the Ash as well in Game 2 when they won. So I got to go with Goblin here for the pick. So we'll have to see when we do get the Idaho Central Credit Union Player of the Game which one of us is right, but there's no wrong answer, of course.
You know what they say, if it's over 30 minutes, the win is free. As we take a look here at the player of the game. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed, fingers crossed. It's the Dina Reno, I think. Yeah, absolutely deserved. Crazy response to all of mine. You need to hit those responses, or retorts, I guess, from the last handful of tournament games. So, yeah, Dean, well earned.
Yeah, completely well earned. The Blitzcrank, absolutely. Maybe part of the reason we saw that salty 20-minute surrender from Michigan State, and then the confusing death sentence that you and I still don't think quite understood how to say that. Perfect play by him. So I loved it. I agree with you 100%. You can go with Dean. All of these players played fantastically well, but congratulations to Dean on his Idaho Central Credit Union Player of the Game. Idaho Central Credit Union believes a great player makes a team more successful, just like Idaho Central Credit Union helps their members achieve financial success. Dean is your Idaho Central Credit Union Player of the Game for Boise State in their 2-1 series victory over Michigan State, their first win in the UCI Best Coast Tournament.
And just absolutely different than what we've seen throughout the course of this tournament up to this point. So very much like to see it. And who knows, maybe they run it back 4-4 throughout the course of the rest of this tournament. But again, we'll have to see. I loved what I saw, and it was an aggressive, very well strategic setup from these Boise State guys. They went down 1, they run it back. And I got to go sing some Silver Scrapes after this is done. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I mean, we heard about it when the tournament maybe didn't start out like people had hoped or we had expected. This is the first time that these guys have ever played together. Give them some time. Let them learn. Let Red Hots figure it out in the top lane. Let Ascent and Aqua kind of get that communication down with the rest of the team. And you're starting to see it come together. As we mentioned, a win last night against Dixie State. A win here, a comeback win against Michigan State when they were up against it. So this team is starting to figure it out. I think the rest of this tournament could end up with some W's. Even if they don't make playoffs, they still are, I think, going to end with a very, very great record. And I can't wait to see where the rest of the season goes, because now that this team's figured it out and they have their roles established, this is a team that I'm going to be very scared of in any tournament, in the Mountain West. Anyone's got to be on the lookout, because Boise State is starting to figure things out.
Absolutely, and that is the most promising sign, especially when you have, the two longest members of the Boise State League of Legends team in Goblin, as well as Red Hot. Dean joined just after that. The new additions seem to be working out great and are giving a personality and a life to Boise State. I'm very happy to see.
Yeah, I can't wait to see where this Boise State team goes, but that's all we have for you today. For Fish Chizu, the Players on Stage production, thank you everyone in Twitch chat as well for being here, watching Boise State pick up their first W. Make sure you give a follow on the channel so that way you know next time Boise State goes live, and maybe you can catch a third straight victory for Boise State. But that's all for us, and hopefully we'll be able to leave you with some top 5 plays from Boise State's first victory in the UCI Best Coast Tournament.
Oh, there's definitely some.
Should have gone down. There were some blocked skill shots by Boise State. Karma running in as fast as she can to get that shield. And oh, by the way, Goblin with the split push Sivir going to take down that second turret. We'll see if he can make it away.
I was going to say, you can't. Oh my goodness, where did Red Hots come from? What in the world? Okay, finally is going to go. One shot, one Q there from the Cossacks was enough to get rid of 50% of Thresh's health. Looks like they're calling for the retreat. The Red Hots is stuck in the Dragon Pit, and oh my gosh, they're gonna get it through. It was all a bait, JK bro. Just a prank, as they are going to lead one into the open arms of Blitzcrank. They don't leave, I get upset, but anyways, that into the lane. Ornhorn is coming down, as well as the Lilia smacking away everybody. I wanted to see jungle pressure. This is more than enough. Yone now going to be dropped on here by Ascent. Red Hot's going to give that one over to Aqua Pink, and they are going to head over into the top.
Okay, huge shield.
And the Arcane Barrage comes through. Aqua gonna delete him after the fact. And it looks like here comes the Kiana going to find themselves. Two will be the Spartans. And it looks like Ascent is trying to get out. Hextech Ultimatum is going to come through. A hook is going to find the Kiana. And it looks like it's the Goblin and Dean show. This bot lane that was left oh so alone has inhibitor lead if you really want to get that deep into it. The ultimate burn there. Ezreal going to be forced over the wall, but the Graves is okay going over as well. What a great ultimate there from Red Hot. That should be that for this game. Boise State on the precipice of picking up their first win here in the Best Coast Tournament, and it